Hi, hello everybody, and it's damn good to see all of you again. Welcome to another edition of To the Turnbuckle on another Off the Wall Tuesday. And I'm Logan Morris, and I will introduce Mr. Napper here in just a moment. But first, I want to take a second and explain where I've been these last few weeks. We, as a group, took last week off, and then, of course, I was not around for the week before, so 2 weeks ago now. Well, here's the situation, boys and girls. I got a call Monday, I believe it was Monday, the 1st, November 1st. I got a call that my grandmother had taken a turn for the worst. For those that don't know, she has battled dementia for the last decade. More than a decade, really. And it was Alzheimer's, and so she took suddenly a bad turn out of nowhere that Monday the 1st. I got a call that it would be a matter of hours before she passed away, and so I went and sat with her, as most would do. And in true mammal fashion, as I called her, she not only, it wasn't just a few hours, she hung on into Tuesday, and then so once Tuesday hit, obviously I'm with her, so I wasn't here for that show on the 2nd, and then she hung on into Wednesday morning. Matter of fact, I was with her that Tuesday and then into Wednesday, and I left the nursing home at 2 a.m. She passed away around 4 a.m. that morning on November 3rd. So that is where I have been. That's what I was doing. I was taking some precious, precious moments before she went on, in my opinion, to be with the Lord. I know that we don't talk a lot of religion and faith on this show, and some of my behavior would make you believe that I don't have any, but I really, really do. And so that was my situation. Like I said, I left the nursing home Wednesday, November 3rd at 2 a.m. She passed between 4 and 5. And then last week, her showing fell on Tuesday from, wouldn't you believe, 5 to 8. And as you know, that is when we raise all kinds of hell and do all kinds of things she would probably be ashamed of. But I obviously felt the need to be there for that entire duration. So that's why I was out. And then a week from tomorrow was her funeral. So we are still processing all those things, because I love my grandmother. I loved my grandparents greatly. My grandfather died in June of 2020 of COVID. They were married 67 years, those two beautiful people were, and I was very, very attached to them. So it's been a tough road for me, but it feels daggum damn good to be right here back at home on To the Turnbuckle, doing things that I'm hoping she's not paying attention to from beyond anywhere, because it's not my best moments from 5 to 8. So with that, damn good to be back. Let me introduce the man that makes it all happen. The man that frankly, I treat so poorly, and yet he treats me so well. I'm talking about Travis Gnarly Napper. Mr. Napper, how are you?
Oh, I'm actually doing pretty well. I had a pretty great week. Got to go to quite a few sporting events this week, so my time has been very well spent, I guess. Unfortunately, it's not been spent too much on wrestling, but we're going to get through the show. I promise we can BS our way through anything. Just you wait and see.
Just wait.
It should be fun. But that being said, we still got a lot to talk about. We missed so much. I'm a little bit sad I didn't get to Scream last week, but McCarthy had issues as well. He couldn't be here until at least, I think, 6 o'clock. So that's another reason why we didn't do the show. I know I did it by myself for the first hour 2 weeks ago, and I would have done it again, but with McCarthy and his time constraints, it just didn't seem like it was going to be that good of a show for you guys, and we want to give you guys as good of a show as we possibly can. So I felt like it was necessary for us to take the week off, especially with everything going on with Logan. Good to have you back, sir. Good to have you leading the charge, so I don't have to try to be the introduction to this show and get back into that hosting job that I very much got rid of in everything that I've done in podcasting.
Well, I mean, given your great intros back in the early days of the Red Flag, I'm stunned to hear that.
I do miss that one. I do.
Now, I do have to tell you, being honest with you, 2 weeks ago, I was not watching this show. I was holding the hand of my grandmother.
Right.
And so I did not get to catch that, but I'm sure it was wonderful, and I'll go back and watch it on demand.
Well, you missed that I did my illustrious thing of muting myself first.
Fantastic.
I know. It's great.
Fantastic.
Give me a job, please.
You'll notice my lovely Hell's Kitchen t-shirt I just decided to break out today because this show is going to be
hell
raw. I can't say
bloody raw.
Just bloody raw.
It's going to be bloody raw.
I want a grizzled young veterans and Gordon Ramsay promise. So that is what's
soon to be bloody raw.
Soon to be recognized as Fox's #1 show. Hell's Kitchen. But that is where I have
That's
been.
about as far as I can go because half the other stuff he says is actually surprisingly not appropriate for the show, probably.
We will find out just how far we can go.
Oh, yes, please.
But I want to thank everybody that has reached out, sent a text, said a prayer. Just thought of yours truly as I've gone through this particularly rough time, if I'm being quite frank. I've cried a whole lot in the last week or two, and that's all right, because that means it was special, and that means it was worth it. And I would do it all again, the pain, the loss, the as long as she didn't have to suffer, I'd sit and do whatever I had to do. So I want to thank everybody that has thought of me or said a prayer, reached out, sent a text. I want to specifically thank everybody here at Bruzernation Productions, as far as Napper, you, and McCarthy, and even some call him Rai the sports guy, but we call him the King of the Hill. All you guys have been wonderful to me, and I really, really appreciate it. I don't deserve it, but it's greatly, greatly appreciated. And I'll get back to raising hell and insulting all of you, I promise. Especially you, Ryan, good son of a... I even got to give a shout out to the King Buckeye, Mr. Buckeye Bro himself, Alex Bryan. He's been very kind and courteous to me during all this time. Granted, I'm not sure if he feels sorry to the fact that my grandmother passed away or that I root for Penn State. A
little bit of both.
So all right, we're always going to be. I'm going to love them during the good times and the tough. Everybody needs to learn that. Everybody, especially you, Ryan. You fickle bitch. So with that, I think that's as good a time as any to say thank you and let's raise a little hell. All right. I'm back. Good to be home. Just good to be home.
I miss this in my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done all I can to it's not like we've completely stopped. We've done several Red Flag episodes during this entire process.
True. I have had still to put up with you. That is true.
Just a little bit, yeah. A little less, maybe. I haven't been quite as active in wrestling group chats and things of that nature, but I'm getting back, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, I'm weaseling my way back in there.
Okay.
Another note that we probably shouldn't announce right here, but we're going to. We are working on taking what I'm calling a holiday hiatus. Now, what does that mean, you might be wondering, dear folks, friends, and neighbors? Well, simple. We've been going at this thing for a long time now. Mm-hmm. And I don't work that hard. I make the rundown, and I, because I have a problem. It's called professional wrestling or sports entertainment, as Vince would call it. It's a true addiction that I just can't quit. But Napper and McCarthy have schedules. All right, they have schedules. They have women to catch up with, or woman, I should say. Lauren, hi.
Hi, Lauren.
You look lovely at the Jackets game. So with that, what we're trying to do is I want to give the boys, 4 or 5 weeks just decompress from this thing called wrestling, if they so can, because I know that I can. Was I still watching it during all this rigmarole that was the last few weeks of my life? Yes, because I have a problem. I act like it really matters. So what we're thinking, and not official, but it's pretty sure. I haven't heard back from McCarthy yet. But frankly, he's as active in this show as you are, the audience. So So what we're thinking is
I don't know who that's more insulting to, them or him.
I was going for both. Just double shot, little whammy. I like to get the double Whopper with cheese. When I get the, Burger King relies heavily on microwaves. But anyway, my point being, you can just tell.
Apparently, because the one over here, the freaking broiler went down.
Well, they're faking it for you. I mean, it's as rigged as anything you ever heard of, because I promise you there's microwave usage. You can just tell. I know a microwave when I see one heating from the inside out, you lazy bastards. Everybody checking their watch. All right. So what we're thinking is we're gonna run heavy every week until December 14th. December 14th, we're gonna do our last what I said, December 14th? December 21st.
Yeah.
December 21st.
Right.
December 21st is going to be the last to the Turnbuckle of the year. And then we're going to take a little time. And I mean just a little time. We'll be back probably that Tuesday before the Royal Rumble.
Maybe. Sort of.
Well, that's my plan, and I kind of run this whole thing.
He does.
So that's what I'm pretty much implementing. And I've told the boys very much so that we have to have a set day when we come back. I think that's as good a time to do it because it gives us time to make the Rumble predictions and ask how the holidays went and all those see what kind of weight I've gained. We get all bound up like a big mouse. It's the holidays, a lot of cheese, a lot of dairy.
I mean, they'll get a preview of that if we do what we said we were going to do.
Sure. Look, if we can pull it off. Well, here's what I should say. I can pull off anything. But I know you especially, you've got such a wild schedule.
I do.
You've got an absolutely, it's more wild than DK Metcalf's hair. And he's got some wild hair these days with that blue going on.
Yeah.
It was much wilder than that game last night. Good Lord. I enjoyed the Manning cast again, though.
I do too. I think it's great.
So that is the little update for all of us. Now, let's yell. But first, let me ask you, do you think that's a good schedule? 21st and then come back about Royal Rumble time? Something like that. So we'll probably miss day one, but who really gives a damn? All right. So there was another round of releases. It was either last week or early the week before. I don't remember. I had things going on I just talked to you about. Ember Moon, Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Mia Yim. At least they got the couples. Grand Metalik, Nia Jax, Lance Dorito, Jet Rama, Katina Cortez, Dre Baxter, some other lady I ain't heard of. B-Fab, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, better known as Taya Valkyrie, Eva Marie, and Scarlett. All cut daggum loose in another round of the dreaded budget cuts. And yet they can wheel a giant-ass belt to AT&T Stadium to celebrate that WrestleMania party. I know we do this every week now, or it feels like.
Yeah.
But what name shocks you most out of that list?
Out of the list?
Give me two. Give me one name you're shocked by. If there is one. Is there one?
Yes.
That you were very
yeah.
And then give me number two, one name that you might not be surprised by, but you're very disappointed by.
Karrion Kross and Keith Lee. I think it has to be. I think it has to be those two guys. Number one, Karrion Kross, because they were just touting they were repackaging him. We just put the report out how many weeks ago? We're going to repackage him.
I think the last time I did this show.
Yeah.
Only about 3 weeks ago.
We're going to repackage him. We're going to make him even more of a psycho. We're going to make... He got a haircut and everything. Changed his entire look for the most part. There's not much you can really change when your hair is pretty much bald. But he dyed his hair. Got a little bit of a different look. Nope. We're just going to get rid of you. What the hell are we doing? And then Keith Lee, poor guy, let's put Bearcat next to his name.
Bearcat, pal.
Bearcat. Oh, by the way, let's fire him. Okay, sure. I will say there is one other one that I think surprises me the most, and that is Ember Moon.
Why?
Because I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because it really did feel like once they moved Tegan up to the main roster with Shotzi, they had nothing for her, which, by the way, where the hell is Tegan? Guess she'll be next on budget cut list.
I was going to say she's hanging out in catering currently.
she's hanging out in the budget cut lounge.
Soon to be recognized as unemployed.
Oh, that's terrible. Really, that entire first line, I just go down the list. Mia Yim, that doesn't really shock me, because for whatever reason, ever since the Keith Lee thing, they seem like they've not had anything for her. Ever since Retribution, they've had nothing for her, which makes no damn sense. Grand Metalik, not really surprised. Nia Jax is a little bit surprising.
That's the one that sticks out to me that I'm most surprised by, because there was a lot of times I felt like she should have been released, because I think she's not the safest worker in the business. I think that's a fair criticism.
Mm-hmm.
But given her relation to Dwayne and, of course, the tribal chief that I refuse to acknowledge, Roman Reigns, I thought pretty safe. Plus, she's had a few women's championship runs. She's had big moments. She just, her and Shayna Baszler were just the tag champs for eons. So I was most surprised by that. That name mostly surprised me. The name I'm most disappointed by doesn't surprise me, to be honest, because after Names like Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman got cut, none of these really stunned me, because it's like, wow, nobody's safe. Pretty much, if you don't have a belt on you as we speak, you could probably lose your job.
Probably.
Karrion Kross is certainly the one I'm most disappointed in, because number one, I have to admit that Napper was right yet again. I hate to do that. Because I like to give Vince the benefit of the doubt, because I make no bones about the fact I'm a WWE guy. I often go, let's give it time, let's see how it goes, and things like that. And I'll usually talk Napper into it, but you'll always go, how'd that work for so-and-so? How'd that work for so-and-so? And I keep waiting on that one example of, this time it worked. It didn't work again. Napper was right again. He told me it was a dumpster fire, and, well, he was right.
I think that's become my biggest thing is I'm fed up. I really am. And it's almost to the point where I'm fed up where I don't even feel like screaming anymore, because it becomes pointless. There's no point in getting mad at this anymore. And McCarthy had this feeling, I feel like, months ago, where it becomes meaningless to get angry, because nothing's going to change. And it doesn't feel like anything's going to change. They're going to keep doing this for the entire rest of the year. I'm sure there's going to be another round before the end of the year, if not at the beginning of the next year. There's no point. And on one hand, we shouldn't be shocked, and I'm not completely upset that they're letting people go, because I understand it to a degree. Like, they had a ton of talent. If anything, take into account, they had a ton of talent. Look at how many times they've released people in the last year. It's been at least 6, I feel like. That's a lot of people, and it's usually been 10 or more people.
And frankly, we can still say the roster's a little crowded.
Yeah.
We can still say, my God, he's lost in the shuffle.
So, on one hand, it sucks to see them go, but the nice thing is that there is places for them to go now. The unfortunate part, they're all kind of going to one place for the most part. And so that's the only problem that really is coming out of this, is even though it was a one-team monopoly for the longest time, now it's kind of becoming a 2-team monopoly. That's the only problem that's really coming out of this. Is it sucks that they're getting released, but now they're getting released to AEW, which is great. They're going to get more freedom to do what they wanted. But now, we had this conversation about AEW a couple weeks ago, I feel like. they're kind of getting into the same bullcrap WWE was.
I think it's, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's kind of natural after a certain point. I don't know if you can help it.
You really can't.
It's almost like becoming your parents. There's some things that our parents do, don't get me wrong. There are certain things your parents do that drive you nuts you're never going to do.
Right.
But there's certain things that as a child you go, why in the hell did my parent do that? And then as we get older, we start to realize, man, I act a whole lot like he or she did.
I do that all the time.
And you're stunned by it when you realize, like,
yeah,
damn, that's them. Because, and it's one thing I don't know if you guys addressed it 2 weeks ago or not, because again, I was busy. But one thing I want to ask McCarthy when he gets in here about 6 o'clock is, AEW has promised to make the business better as a whole. Mm-hmm. But currently, their presence, not intentionally, I have to keep that in mind, not intentionally, unlike Vince, is weakening the business except for WWE and AEW.
Yeah.
Because Ring of Honor is potentially shut down. If not, they're not ever going to be the same again. They're going to be if rumors are true.
I mean,
if rumors are true, they're going to be a glorified indie with a TV deal.
I mean, if you really want to look at it, look at the shot that just was taken to Ring of Honor at Full Gear.
Yeah, with Jay Lethal.
That was probably the biggest gut punch they could ever fear.
Yeah.
And, we'll get more into it later, but that in itself is a massive nail in the coffin of Ring of Honor.
Because that right there shows you it's not ever going to be the same again.
No.
It may not be around, period, but it certainly won't. My guess is, and I know that we'll probably talk more about this as the show goes on, because this is kind of the catch-up edition of Truth Turnbuckle, if you can't tell.
Right. I know I put the rundown graphic in there. This is kind of, we're just going to run and talk.
We're just going to run. Yeah. We're going Brett Favre style today. We're, all right, here's the play, draw it up. I can't read the nickel defense. I'm going to slam. So the thing about it is number one, I do think the Ring of Honor will be back.
I do too.
Some form.
We both said the same thing.
I believe it'll be back in some form. I don't think that's a bill of goods that the COO was saying when he released the statement. The problem is I think it'll be a glorified Andy. I think it'll keep the TV contract with Sinclair, and it runs at like midnight, 1 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays, and then Fight TV on like Mondays at 7. It's a glorified indie at this point. What they're going to do is they're going to find some indie guys at work. Some guys that are, I think you'll see guys like Matt Cardona possibly pop in there, because I think it'll be a case by case basis, or maybe a month by month basis, something like that. A lot of handshake agreements. A lot of we'll come on in and do this, because when you're releasing your entire roster, something has changed in a bad way. Now, some of that is Ring of Honor's fault, and I'll tell you why. Because they were trying to be too good. And what I mean by that is this. Sinclair knew they're not going to put more money into Ring of Honor. They don't give a damn about Ring of Honor. They don't care at all. They knew it. And so they put their money in Fox News, and everything else they're doing. And so I knew that they're not going to put more money into it. So when they tried to keep everybody employed during the pandemic, you knew that was going to come back to bite them eventually. Because eventually Sinclair's going to go, like everybody else, we're losing money. Well, where's the quickest we can cut? Not to get, again, the least bit political on this show, folks. They're not cutting Fox News.
No.
They're not making cuts there. Fox News is bringing in boatloads. All right. Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, they're going to be on TV. They're probably not going to cut the brand new streaming service they got going on. So they look and they go, well, we have this little wrestling company that we've had for the last decade and a half. It hasn't gained it's a respectable promotion. It's a promotion I respect, but it hadn't gained a ton of traction. The biggest thing it did, and great irony almost, is this. It launched AEW. Ring of Honor launched AEW.
They did.
Because Cody and the Young Bucks, those Baldwin Bucks, and a few others, came over there, and let's be honest, they prostituted Rainwater Television. They prostituted Rainwater Live Events pay-per-views, and they got themselves over to a great degree, and then they all swore they're going to get back to the business, and they have. And they have. But for some reason, Rainwater didn't get any of that love.
So I want to touch on this subject.
Go ahead.
Because I have you brought up something to us outside of here that I think would be a good part of this. However, I do want to touch on some comments really quick.
Go ahead.
So Big Stevie C is in the comment section. He has a couple different comments. He said, if only ROH could have stuck around for a few more months. I think they are going to stick around. I think Logan's right. They are going to be back. It's just a matter of how they're going to be back. And Jason and I said this. Really, the biggest thing they should be doing is looking to partner with people. NWA should be their biggest target right now. They need to partner with NWA and keep that partnership alive as much as they can, because I feel like that's going to help them. The biggest thing we said, like, look at their roster before they released everybody. And we actually did. We went through their website and looked at the roster of who is on there. You look at the alumni page on their website, AJ Styles, CM Punk, Cody, Samoa Joe, Tyler Black. Or was it Black or? Yeah.
Seth Rollins now.
Right. But like you look at that list of people, they've not had the same name recognition guys in the company that they once did. And that's one of their bigger problems. And then he also said, any thoughts on the rumor that this was a reaction to talent not being vaccinated? Also, is the E spinning Keith Lee being difficult to counter his claim that they didn't pay for his medical expenses?
Well, I'll give my thoughts on that. Michael Campbell, I want to say thank you very much. Greatly do appreciate that. I will give my thoughts on that. Again, tough to not get political, I guess, but it's tough. I'm going to say that it's not a reaction to vaccination status. You want to know why? Because Vince McMahon is a Donald Trump-loving Republican.
Yeah. And
for better or worse, when you tend to go one way, you tend to go one way on the other as well.
Yeah.
Now, McCarthy said in our group chat in private, said, well, probably doesn't have anything to do with Vince. It's probably more of like, we're going to run these live events. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is a big proponent of freedom of expression.
Really?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
Because he has sold out to cancel culture in the past. Hulk Hogan was exiled for a long time. Ric Flair currently on the outs.
Right.
So it is possible.
And it is a big, big thing with the pandemic right now. And, we saw what happened in football. Cam Newton was not vaccinated for the longest time. And look what happened the minute he gets vaccinated. Yep. He gets signed to a team.
I'm back. Boy, he shouted that like a mother.
Well, and
I saw the feelings in his teeth. It was great.
Hey, if you pull off the performance he did after everything, maybe you can glow a little bit.
But I want to address this. Also, is the E spinning Keith Lee being difficult to counter his claim they didn't pay for his medical expenses? Probably. I'm going to say, I can't say it with a fact, but my guess is yes.
Considering the comments about Bray Wyatt, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's what big companies do. They try to save face.
Especially this one.
Yes.
Look, I don't think any of us are. I don't think even I'm not delusional about the fact that Vince will undercut and do whatever he feels he's got to do. Do you think I ever sugarcoat that, really?
We express it and give examples regularly on this show.
If anything, I smile about it because it's just like, yes, morally, he'll have a lot to answer for when his time comes.
We smile because we'll cry if we don't.
But we smiled about it because there's two coins of thought. Morally, yes, he's a bankrupt individual and should look in the mirror and meet a man called Jesus. But on the other hand, you have to, in some ways, admire the dastardly tenacity of Vince McMahon. Because if there's some way he'll undercut and find a way, because I've always said it is my personal opinion. Can I prove it? No. It is my personal opinion that he paid off Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida to become an essential business. Why do I believe that? Because the day before, Linda McMahon Super PAC made a contribution to his campaign. I believe, cannot prove it, just my opinion, that contribution was, hey, we'll pad your pockets here a little bit if you'll keep us open. Because remember, at the time, everybody was shutting down, and everybody was all over DeSantis about, you got to shut this down, got to shut that down, my point being is there's not a stone he won't turn. Hell, again, because, and I know we talk about it ad nauseum on this show, but always remember the birth of this dynasty, this company, this global brand was built on a lie. A lie to his dying father that I won't compete against the promoters that you trust and call friends. And he shook the hand of his father and he shook the hand of all those promoters. And he said, no, I won't compete. And as soon as his father died, he went, I'm going to compete. And not only am I going to compete, I'm going to drive you out of business. So no, nothing surprises me when it comes to the moral bankruptcy, but at the same time, dastardly effectiveness of Vince Kennedy McMahon. So I just want to make that clear. As far as Ring of Honor goes, I think they'll be back. I just don't think it'll be back in... I think it'll kind of be like Impact was a few years ago. Like Impact's kind of back on the upswing now a little bit. They have more contracted talents, more long-driven storylines. But for a while there, if you remember, especially like in the early Twitch days a few years ago, a lot of their content was their guys wrestling at other promotions that they were just airing on their show and kind of fulfilling the storyline that way.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen to Ring of Honor. Doesn't mean they can't ever be back to prominence.
Well, I wanted to touch on the part where you said that they prostituted Ring of Honor out.
Well, they did.
The reason I wanted to touch on it is because they did the same thing to Impact Wrestling. AEW did. Which brings me to something that you shared in our group chat, Mark's and damn proud of it, with a little comment that one Tony Khan made recently.
I was going to bring it around to that. Go ahead.
So he was asked a question. What was it, last week? And I
can't keep up with weeks.
He was asked about, and he cut off the question, but he was asked basically if AEW at any point was thinking of contributing an all-women's pay-per-view. Is essentially what the woman was going to ask, it seemed like. However, Tony didn't let her get that off because he cut her off and said, and I quote, I'm going to cut off your question right there because I don't think I get enough credit for what I did for the NWA show. Because a good number of the people who wrestled on the NWA show were wrestlers I sent and paid. So I do think I contributed because the highest paid wrestlers on that show were actually the people I paid separately from what they already make in AEW to go wrestle on that show. And I don't think they did a very good job of telling people that. Honestly, even though it was a line, it was in the deal we did. I wish they told more people that because it was one of the points I made when we closed it. I think it would be nice if you told people that I'm paying the wrestlers coming because it is a big contribution from me. So I did pay the wrestlers for that show. It's kind of like when you pay for a dinner and nobody thanks you. Tony Khan, where? Freaking where? Oh my God. Go ahead. I know you're itching for this one. Well, I'm kind of sad that I brought it up before McCarthy gets here because I'm sure you were saving it for him.
Well, it's just... I'm disappointed because I thought Tony Khan was better than that. I really did.
I did too.
Because one thing I've always said, morality, he's got Vince beat by a long shot. I've always said that. And then, frankly, he pulls an Eric Bischoff-esque, like Vince McMahon-esque thing where it's like, nobody thanked me. First of all, I highly doubt that's true, given the professionalism that NWA handles themselves with. And I can say that because I've dealt with some of people in the NWA that make a few decisions.
Even got to go to a show recently.
Yes. And no, I haven't talked to Billy Corrigan. I'm not trying to but I know a few people is all.
Hey.
I'm saying I know of.
Tim Storm.
And so I'd be very surprised if that's true. Maybe it is. I'll call him a liar. I don't know. Wasn't there. But you're a billionaire thanks to your daddy. Why do you care if you're thanked or not thanked? Because certainly they made Layla Hirsch look more over at Empower than you ever have. Go back and watch that match with Camille at Empower. That's the most legit she's looked. No pun intended.
Are you sure?
We'll see. Yeah, so no, I think it's disgusting. I think it's beneath Tony Khan because we expect better in Tony Khan.
Yeah.
I just, if you're here to make the business better as a whole, as he swears, that's what the point was. That's what he swears the point of AEW. Then you're not going to want to be thanked. Like, I shouldn't say one. You're not going to expect to be thanked. You're not going to be pissing and moaning if Billy Corgan forgot to go, hey, thanks for paying. Well, you should. You're a billionaire. Like, Billy Corgan's got a lot of money, but he's got rock star money, not my daddy owns a football team money. Jacksonville, Dixie.
Not even a good football team at this point.
Like, I just, well, let me tell you what, they really know how to grind through the plays, that's for sure. And I just,
I knew you were going to go there.
Just got to keep those legs churning, off and on the field.
Now, I will say Tony Khan did apologize for his controversial comments. Well, the funny thing is, this was on a Full Gear media call. Yay!
I just don't understand. And I think maybe it's pressure getting Tony Khan a little bit. Maybe it is. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's so beneath him. That's so... Because that's so Bischoff-esque or Vince at his worst, especially when he was younger. And, I mean, that's so... And again, the problem is he made us expect better. That's the problem. Vince does that, we go, wow. Did you hear him say that? We don't. I'm not going to downgrade it because I don't expect better of it. With Tony Khan, I expect better because he says he's in it for everybody, he's not just here to prostitute the business, unlike Vince McMahon, who does not, I don't know if he actively anyone would do what he can to make sure you don't succeed as another company at this stage of his life, but he damn sure doesn't want you to succeed. If that makes sense.
Right.
Back in the old days, back when he was younger and had a little bit more, I guess, kind of hunger, for lack of a better term, he would do whatever he could to undercut you, and he still does it around with AEW, but, I mean, he would do everything he could to undercut you. Where now, everyone else to the business, to Vince, is cockroaches. As long as he doesn't see you and he flips the light on, he really doesn't care. Don't believe me, he had plenty of opportunity to buy Impact's tape reel when they were going through their struggles, going through different owners. Billy Corgan being one of them at one point. I wonder if he'll buy the Ring of Honor library. Probably not, but if he wanted to just be a real a-hole, because there's a lot of great footage there, he could. Maybe he'd have some very nice, very evil footage, perhaps. But
I can't wait to see where he goes. Can't wait.
I don't even know. I don't know where he'd work besides Ring of Honor, to be honest with you. Impact's he's too goofy for NWA.
People think AEW.
Problem, he'd work there, but he'd never.
He works in WWE, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he's going to be chasing 24/7 title for 2 weeks.
Yes. Well, he could make that title more than it ever was. But to give people a little bit context, here's the actual question that Ella J, who is, I believe, a podcaster, tried to ask on that show. She asked, the bar, I think, has been really raised this year with a lot of all women's shows and main events taking place. But does AEW have any plans or hopes to contribute maybe an all women's event of their own sometime? So half the stuff he even ranted about had nothing to do with the question. That's where I have the issue. You went on a probably 2-minute tirade, but it had nothing to do with what the comment was about.
Why would he be bitter about that?
That's what I want.
That's where a tirade comes from.
Right.
You're angry, or
because she used the word contribute. And apparently that's what set him off, is she used the word contribute. But she said an all women's event, not contribute to women's wrestling, not contribute to people's events, an all women's event of your own.
Yeah. And whether he likes it or not, what he did was just contribute there. Yeah. It was called NWA Empower. It was not called AEW and the NWA Present. It was called NWA Empower. And there was a well-known partnership between AEW and the NWA, even though it looks to be on the rocks, just as the Impact one is apparently no more.
Yeah.
Is Tony Khan slowly turning into a little bit more like Vince McMahon because you realize how hard this job is?
I think morally he's still...
Oh, he's way better. It's not even close.
Right.
Like, when Vince gets to the gates, unless he has a serious conversion in the last few years of his life, it's going to be, well, we know, don't we? When Tony gets to the gates, we're going to at least go, well, let's see. But when Vince gets there, it's going to be McMahon. Well...
Go join Bischoff.
Yeah, he'll be like...
Go stand next to Bischoff and Hogan.
He'll be like, are you going to walk me there, or should I see myself out? Like I said, unless he has a serious conversion, who knows?
But I do think there's some truth to that. We can get McCarthy's thoughts on it as well, but I do think there's a little bit of truth to it, because we've had conversations about his behavior for 3 weeks now?
Yeah, just before.
Not in a row, right. But like the last couple shows, we've brought it up.
We've talked about how something's different.
Something just seems off.
I don't know if a woman's left him, or... because that'll mess with you if you're having issues in the personal life.
Ask Denny Hamlin.
I don't know. Because for a while he was just a happy, nerdy looking that we all had to find things to really complain about. That we all, including myself.
It felt like in the beginning he didn't care about what people thought, and at the same time he wasn't necessarily trying to build his legacy, and was just trying to get his company off the ground. And now it's like he feels like everybody is questioning every little thing that he does, and he has to, for whatever reason, justify it.
Welcome to the big time, kid.
But that's the thing. Like, for whatever reason, it almost feels like he has to justify everything now.
Well, what he should do to make himself feel better is he should, next Monday night, about 11:05, 11:10, 11:15 maybe.
Watch Monday Night Raw.
Go on a message board after Raw, and the things that Vince gets called compared to you'll feel like gold.
You'll feel so much better.
You'll feel like gold. And you'll find yourself going, wow, Vince isn't grabbing his iPhone and going on Twitter and saying,
Raw sucks.
You're all morons? You mean he doesn't bat an eye to us at all?
Wow.
That's how he's built the empire. He goes, I'm just going to do it.
I'm just going to do it and screw everyone else.
Oh, well, I already know they don't like it, and I don't care.
It's what's best for business, pal.
You know whose audience I'm concerned about?
Me.
Mine. Do I enjoy the product? The answer is yes.
Ha, ha, ha.
So... with
more Mandy Rose. Ha, ha, ha.
I'm telling you, he's going to be...
He really is.
He's going to be down there. He's taking a flight to Orlando as we speak.
He's going to put RK Bro back on NXT so he can have the Newly Bro show.
I am absolutely...
How is that not on Raw yet?
Give it time.
I don't really want to see it on Raw, but how is that not on Raw yet?
Probably during the Christmas edition.
Christmas.
Yeah. Welcome to the Newly Bro
or February
show.
When it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, when we're just trying to get... So essentially all the months that don't matter.
Yeah, right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take our first break onto the Turnbuckle. When we come back, we're hoping to have McCarthy. If we don't have McCarthy, we'll see. But if we have McCarthy, we're going to ask him why Tony Khan has become a hypocritical individual.
And he's going to say we're ridiculous, and then...
It's egregious, and it's unfair.
How dare we say that about a man that's so morally right? And,
Yeah, we're talking about the second coming of Christ here. What are we doing? So with that, this is To the Turnbuckle, presented by Bruzernation Productions, right here on Heel Turn Wrestling on Facebook. We'll be right back after a few short messages.
Oh, hey there, Bruiser Nation. Raise those anchors and get ready to wear the official merch of Bruzernation Productions. Visit BruzernationProductions.kincustom.com and show the world your love of the Bruiser Nation as you go about your day in style. We have Bruise Cruise Podcast and To the Turnbuckle tees, hoodies, jackets, shoes, bags, and even pillows. You heard that right. Pillows. That's BruzernationProductions.kincustom.com. Once again, BruzernationProductions.kincustom.com. And remember, Bruiser Nation, stay good, because I'm always good.
In sports, you want to have a player that can get the job done right every time. A real all-star, somebody that's dependable and you can turn to when the game is tough. That player in the audio-video industry is the theater people. From setting up your home's Wi-Fi network and offices, conference rooms, to setting up home theater inside or outside, to setting up the systems to make your home run smarter and safer as well. The theater people can do it all with the quality of professionalism you can expect every single time. That isn't just a great all-around player. That is an all-star. That is why we are the leaders in audiovisual installation in Central Ohio. So call us at 614-604-6327 or check out our website at ttpcolumbus.com to figure out which products will fit you. And don't forget, amplify your personality with the theater people.
If you've ever dreamed of a career in the sports production industry, your dream could come true. The Ohio Media School is enrolling their next sports emphasis class soon. You'll learn about all the different aspects of what goes into the broadcast that you watch or listen to. Go from behind the scenes to the front of the camera. You'll also get hands-on opportunities to practice your skills through the Score On Air network. Call the Ohio Media School at 614-655-5250 or visit beonair.com/Columbus.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of To the Turnbuckle. And look, we behave like children, so we had to bring in the adult in this particular turnbuckle room. This particular turnbuckle in the ring, perhaps. I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 of them. Maybe it's an octagon, if, whatever. The 6 sides in Impact back in the day. Anyway, my favorite minister on some days, Jason Mad Daddy McCarthy. How are you, buddy, you clean-shaven son of a bitch?
Oh, man, living the dream. I just don't know whose, but, I spent like almost 11 hours working, but half of it was drive time, so it's fine because I got paid to go to the office and I got paid to drive all the way home, so it works.
Cool. Well, with that, why is Tony Khan becoming a hypocrite, McCarthy? I want to know, did you see those disgusting comments he made about NWA and not being thanked for buying the essential dinner of Empower? What's going on with Tony Khan?
Man, I don't know. I'm going to chop it up to a bad day. We all have those. I don't know what questions he was asked before that question happened. Did he answer it incredibly wrongly? Yes, he did. But I'm going to chalk it up to a bad day. What are you going to do?
All right, fine. It's a bad day. Me too.
I like our answers better.
Before we talk full gear, I want to ask you one question because I didn't get to see 2 weeks ago. I didn't get to see 2 weeks ago. So I want to ask you, is AEW partially to blame for Ring of Honor's death or being on life support, whatever you want to call it?
I don't think so. We can't put that on AEW. Everybody else flourished. Everybody else made a way to do it. I just think Ring of Honor, like me and Travis talked about, the biggest problem is their time slot. They didn't bring anybody to be quote unquote pretend fans or anything. So even if you're staying up late to watch Ring of Honor and you're a diehard, it got hard to watch after a while. And they have a lot of young guys, and I don't want to be a jerk when I say this, but a lot of things are telegraphed. Like, yeah, we know wrestling and we can tell when things are coming, but it was kind of bad when you would watch Ring of Honor. You'd be like, oh, he's going to do this next. Oh, he's going to do this next. It kind of takes away from the magic of pro wrestling when you can go move for move coming up to what's going to happen. And I just think they just need a change. That, like me and Travis talked about, they might need to just maybe have a Ring of Honor section, but people don't want to see honor anymore. They like the arguing, the fighting, the disagreements. I mean, that's the world we're in right now. So maybe that's an option. Have a Ring of Honor championship where everything has to be up to the Ring of Honor code, but maybe push the envelope a little bit with other storylines and another championship.
Oh, phooey. That's a bunch of shit. Let's just be honest about it. Anywho, let's go ahead and talk about Full Gear. How about that, all right? Want to talk Full Gear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not often that I like to, well, I don't ever like to, but it's not often that I'll admit that, I'll be damned, you called it from the start. Hey, man, Adam Page is your new world champion in AEW. Mr. McCarthy, go ahead and take a victory lap, you selfish son of a bitch.
Oh, I already did the next day and bought the shirt. I bought the shirt. I couldn't help but buy the shirt, but I bought the shirt.
Yeah, forget about that extra sandwich your kid could use.
I mean, he eats peanut butter and jelly. That's like the only sandwich he eats unless it's grilled cheese. It's fine.
Well, you got to get a little turkey or something, a little provolone, maybe a little pepper jack.
I mean, he'll put ham in his grilled cheese.
If you had to pick one sandwich, like, you know, at home, right?
Yeah.
At home, what's your sandwich? Good to be back, ain't it?
I know, right?
I'm going to ask you the same question, McCarthy.
Oh,
I don't know. Ham and cheese, I guess.
You a ham and cheese guy? What do you go, honey ham or black forest ham?
Honey ham.
You like a little honey ham? What kind of cheese?
American cheddar.
You're boring.
I know I am.
All right, McCarthy, you better have a better answer lined up for us.
This is at home, right?
At home, you know.
At home
of your lunch meat, whatever you buy. What kind of what's your you know? I don't care if you go to the deli. I don't care what you do. What is your preferred sandwich of an at-home sandwich?
You know, I wish John Moxley was watching because he's the king of sandwiches. In his book, he's got a chapter devoted to sandwiches. But I digress.
Well, hopefully he's the king of those 12 steps. All right.
Roast beef, cheddar cheese, Swiss cheese, mayonnaise, and bacon.
My man. See,
that's a real sandwich, Travis.
Yeah, that's a sandwich. See, I like to get a little bit of that, like.
I don't eat a lot of sandwiches, so I couldn't.
What? That's egregious.
I don't know. I just don't.
I like to go to the deli, get some of that Nashville hot. I like that Nashville hot chicken.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. Get a little pepper jack, maybe a little mozzarella, depending on what I'm feeling.
Okay.
You know, maybe put a nice tomato on that son of a biscuit. A little mayo. You got to toast the bread. It's got to be nice and warm. You know, frankly, you might want to put that lunch meat in a skillet. That's right, old school skillet.
Oh man, if you throw some butter on the back of that bread and just grilled cheese style that shit, that's the best.
Yeah, that's man, it's good stuff. So this has been lunch meat with Steel Turnbuckle, big meaty man talking about meat. That's how it is. Look, I'm just telling you, you just gotta up your sandwich game, Napper. So I have a goal. It just come to me.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to go to like one of those next year.
Oh, Jesus.
Next year. We're going to go to a restaurant. Might be here in Ohio. Might be somewhere. Where we get one of those like massive club sandwiches. I'm talking about one of those like big, huge. You got to split it 4 people, right? But I'm fat, so we'll do it with 3. Maybe if Ryan isn't too busy getting reacquainted with his girlfriend, we might bring him too. But we're gonna go to like one of those man versus food delis in 2022. I swear this is going to happen. I'm speaking it into existence. Joel Osteen would be proud. I'm speaking this into existence. We're going to go to one of those man versus food delis. We're going to find the nearest one we possibly can. If there's one in Ohio, great. If there's not, look, we'll do Indy, we'll do Michigan, we'll do something. We're going to get one of those humongous ass like club sandwiches because that's nothing but lunch meat. And we're gonna split it 3 to 4 ways depending on who comes on this trip. And we're gonna make sure Napper has so much of it he's sick of it. Because he just doesn't eat well enough. Every grandmother in America would say Napper needs a meal.
Every grandmother in America tells their grandkids they need a meal.
Are you in McCarthy or not?
I'm in. I'm eating a whole sandwich myself.
All right. I was gonna say, don't be a little punk about it now. Let's come on. That's spoken into existence. You're supposed to play along with me. It's called kayfabe. Do it for 5 minutes. Everybody on Twitter.
What just happened?
Who knows? So, some cowboy shit took place. Hangman Adam Page is the new world champion, defeating the most overrated, overbearing world champion I've ever seen in my life. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, Hogan. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh, what was that?
It's a good thing you're virtual, because boy, either you're sick or that's faker than a PCR test. I'm not sure which. So, new world champion, talk to me, McCarthy. I know you mentioned you got the t-shirt because I think you're on the payroll. But what did you think of the match? What do you think? And I want an early prediction. I want to wait too soon. Who's the man to beat Hangman Adam Page?
So we'll start with that. MJF, for sure, is the man that beats Adam Hangman Page. Dude, the match was great. It told a great story of Adam Hangman Page never saying die and just taking it to Kenny Omega, defeating the guy who's beaten everybody that has stood in his way, minus Daniel Bryan, because they had that time limit draw. But it was a culmination of fantastic 2 years of storytelling. Almost 3. It was fantastic. And the icing on the cake was that the Young Bucks did not get involved, because that would have ruined everything. Either way, if they would have interfered for Adam Page or interfered for Kenny, that would have ruined everything.
So you think MJF is the guy?
I think he should be.
Notice how that answer changed really quickly. Mr. Napper.
Yes.
Let's not talk about all of the match like that. It was good, no doubt about it, right?
Right.
But let's talk about Hangman Adam Page, the world champion. About time, too late, too soon. I hope you're not saying that. and who is the guy you'd like to eventually see down the line? I'm not saying next month. This ain't the WWE. Down the line, who do you want to see the guy that gets catapulted to the top from beating Hangman Adam Page?
So I'll start off. I definitely think this is the right time. Obviously, it should have been probably a little bit sooner. They were planning to do this sooner, it seems like. But
damn right, it should have been sooner.
But, things got in the way. Can't fault him for that. Cannot fault him for that. But thankfully, they did the right thing. They bought some time, and then they moved on, and now we have him as the world champion. I think it's the right move. I thought it was a great story. I actually have to disagree with McCarthy a little bit, though.
Go ahead. I love that.
I would have been okay with the Young Bucks getting involved. Here's why.
Now I have to disagree with you.
Well, here's why. And I'm not saying they could have found a way to get them involved without him getting disqualified or Kenny getting disqualified. But to me, sometimes that makes more sense, because look at the story that they've told with Adam Page over the course of the last year. And especially in particular, Adam Page and the Young Bucks. They've gone back and forth. They've called him every name in the book. They were the ones that really put him down before Kenny Omega.
Sure.
I know they kind of got a resolution to that story originally with some of the things he's done on previous Dynamites leading up to Full Gear. But I feel like it would have been one last final moment. That crowd would have gone crazy if you got one over one more time on the Young Bucks to get the world title. It's kind of like Daniel Bryan against the Authority. Like, they did everything to stop him from being world champion. Young Bucks, the Elite, could try everything to keep him from getting the world title, and he overcomes it and does it anyway. So to me, I wouldn't have been mad if they'd have done that. I can understand feeling like they shouldn't have did it because it sometimes takes away from the story, and let's be honest, sometimes it gets a little bit too choppy and a little bit too crowded. But I wouldn't have been that upset. As far as your question about who should be catapulted to the top, MJF is definitely one of them. I think you could throw Lance Archer in there.
I've only literally prayed about it for like a year.
The problem is not the problem, but you got to turn him back heel. Maybe Jon Moxley. I wouldn't be upset about that. He's kind of, before his issues. And, we can go into depth about that if we want to.
We just send our best wishes. I know I made that joke because I joke about everything. If you don't like it, welcome to the show. But we just send our best wishes. I'm in no place to judge. Like I said, I make jokes about everything. I made a joke about my late grandmother before the show went on air. That's high cope. That's how I cope. I'm a weak, fat man with low self-esteem. I'm trying to cope through this thing called life.
But yeah, hopefully Jon Moxley gets back to us. I saw they did a little tribute to him or a tribute show to him, like at a live event or something. So that was pretty cool. But I think once Jon Moxley gets back, we could have him do that. That's not necessarily catapulting somebody to the top, though, considering he's already been world champion. And to be honest, I don't think he's the one guy you want to see become world champion twice. So I think for right now, it's got to be MJF. The only other person I could really think you can go for is an Adam Cole. And it's got to be a little ways from now. They've got to find a way to prolong that. But I think that would be a good story because then you can say Adam Cole can do something that Kenny Omega couldn't do. And obviously, they got to get through their feud first because I know McCarthy brought it up, I think, a couple weeks ago. That's probably going to be one of the next big feuds is Omega versus Cole because there can be only one leader of the elite.
I got a comment here to get from Eli Myers. Overrated, overbearing, injured world champion Kenny Omega. Absolutely love seeing Full Gear Live at the Target Center. The experience was unreal. I assume you're taking a shot because I called him overrated and unbearing. That's all right. I'm also overrated and overbearing. That's fine. I'm all right with that. I got a better idea, though. I love both of your gentlemen's ideas.
Okay.
Here's what I think you do. Down the line, I think you turn Darby Allin heel by beating the holy hell out of Sting. And then he beats Hangman Adam Page at some point. Maybe that's my bias coming in because you guys know I'm Darby Marks, have been since the day AEW opened the doors. But I think you do. I think you turn it eventually. Doesn't have to be. We can be talking even a year from now. But at some point within the next 6 months to a year, he turns heel on Sting to the point that we get uncomfortable. That we he's really going after that neck.
Well, if there's one person that can make me uncomfortable, it's Darby Allin.
It might mean more
when you shouldn't even be here. There's a reason WWE wouldn't clear you. I'm talking about cross that line.
What'd you say, Jason?
It might mean more if Darby Allin dethrones MJF. They've been back and forth thorning each other's sides since the beginning.
And MJF did get the win, so...
Pillars.
Yeah.
The pillars.
I don't think there's a wrong answer yet.
And then he can turn on Sting.
All right, the icon Sting can be the world champion. Is that the right answer?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. That's egregious.
Yes, he can. Because I want to see Joker Sting one more time.
All right, Mr. McCarthy, how would you feel about Sting being the AEW world champion at this advanced stage of his career?
Can't be worse than Goldberg.
That's a different company.
Yes.
I was talking to McCarthy.
Turn it on him.
All right, guys, just because you're about to qualify for Medicaid doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to be a world champion. We talk about sexism in this country. Ageism is real, and by the way, we talk about sexism, body shaming. Yet we'll still call a mother lover fat every other day because I'm one.
Same.
But how would you feel about Mr. Medicaid Sting being the world champion someday, Mr. McCarthy? Would you get all upset about it, or I want to know?
Probably, because I don't think he can hang in singles matches. That's why he always does tag team matches. And while we're talking about ageism, the new edict in WWE, women under 25.
I know, it's disgusting.
That's egregious as hell.
It's disgusting.
Egregious.
But it's kind of like Matthew McConaughey's character said in Dazed and Confused. Remember that movie? You know, Troy became a star. He goes, "Every year I get older, and high school girls stay the same."
All right.
So maybe that's what Vince is thinking. Seriously, let's talk about that for just a second. Let's go in depth.
Oh, goody.
Let's go in depth for just a second, McCarthy. Let's go through Vince's mind or whoever's mind. What is in their head the reason for this new, like, ageism and age restriction and got to be 25 or whatever? What in their head is the justification for that? Because I think it's just bowling shoe stupid.
It is bowling shoe stupid, and they're kicking them or shooting themselves in the foot by releasing all these people for absolutely no freaking reason. Now, some of them I can understand. Yes, it is your choice to get the vaccine. I don't care if you get it. I don't care if you do. It is your choice. However, a lot of places, like we talked about in the chat, that I go to do jobs at next year wouldn't let me in if I wasn't vaccinated. It's not just Columbus, Ohio people that are doing that. Arenas are going to be doing that too. So yes, you have the right to take the vaccine. That's on you. Mm-hmm. But if it affects the booking and how you can be used because you can't go into certain arenas, that one I kind of understand. I mean, I guess he's paid people to sit on the couch for decades. Why couldn't he do that for a few more months and see where this goes? As far as everybody else, it's just as egregious as every other time he's done it in the past 16 months. It makes no sense. Oh, I can't make new stars. Oh, I need people that are younger. I need people that have no skill and develop them into WWE products so they don't give you issues by complaining about their booking and the dumb ass shit that you have your writers write for them.
So he's not getting ready to sell the company. He just wants to weaken the roster's morale and go, look, you will bow to me.
Pretty much. He wants to build the ideal WWE superstars. When were the last real WWE superstars built that way? When? I mean, even John Cena came from the independents, for God's sakes.
Yeah, because and Lord knows he had a lot of his tutelage from a guy that isn't afraid to tell Vince to shove it, and that's Jim Cornette.
Yep. I mean, I just don't understand. Do you need young stars? Yeah, you totally do. You got to always reload. But there's a point when you're getting rid of all this talent and all this experience that you're going to be screwed. Because a lot of pro wrestling is learning on the job. You can script somebody's promos, you can script somebody's matches, but if it's two guys that are green as hell or two women that are green as hell, neither one's going to get any better.
And it was always funny, too, because, like, for the longest time, we complained, like, oh, it's just a bunch of old geezers going out there in the ring. So apparently to Vince, he thought, well, they don't like that, so let's go the other way, pal.
I only complained about Goldberg, sir.
Well, no, but you get my point. Like, not us specifically, but people complained the whole time. Yeah. He can't see it, so it's okay.
All right.
This is egregious. I can see it in a second when the Facebook feed picks up, catches up. That's the word, catches up.
But like we saw fans complain so much that they were going back to, getting all these old timers and putting them on the show and not really building new stars. But then now we're going the complete opposite direction.
Well, you look at it this way. Frankie Monier said that pretty much she was told, besides budget cuts. But the heavy implication was that her age is why. Because she said it's the first time, because she said that cause she's about to be 38 or something like that, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
She said it's the first time she's ever felt ashamed of her age in the business at all, because she considers in her head, because of all the guys, and she's absolutely right, that 37, 38, that's still relatively young in wrestling. You're about to hit your stride. But the heavy implication when she got off the call was, you're too old. And so she said it was the first time in this entire business, because she started out a little later, I guess, that she said she felt really ashamed of her age. And pretty much F them for making her feel that way, is what she was saying. What are your thoughts on that? The heavy implication, McCarthy, is that they got rid of Frankie Mounier. Taya Valkyrie is better known as, obviously, with a great Impact run in other places. What do you think of that? That pretty much her age is why Vince or whomever told her you got to hit the door.
It's a bunch of bullshit because, like you said, a lot of wrestlers get in their prime in their 30s. We can list the names: Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, even though no one likes to say his name, Rey Mysterio. Do I need to keep going?
Undertaker.
I kind of wish you would.
Oh, you're
keep
right.
going.
I forgot Undertaker. The exception is Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
And everybody else, it took a decade. And the reason why they were able to hit their stride and be in their prime so well is because they came from a world that is wrestling. It's not every amateur wrestler can make that transition, but when the guy can, it's magic. You just look at Chad Gable. They're giving him a chance and he's amazing. But it takes time to learn the business, learn how to control your body, learn how to talk in front of people properly and get the proper reactions. And that takes experience. And in pro wrestling, sometimes that takes a lot longer than, 5 years. Oh, you didn't get it. See you later. Like, that's not how pro wrestling works, especially when you're handcuffed with everything that you can do.
I'll give you 3 names why this entire thing is bullshit.
Go ahead.
Natalya Neidhart, Gail Kim, Mickie James. All 3 could put on a 5-star match right now. All at least 40 or older.
Well, just wait until the Royal Rumble when Lita and Trish Stratus show up. I have nothing against those two wrestling. That's not what I'm saying.
She can show up anytime.
Yeah, you watch your
totally
mouth.
Fine. But it's one of those, you released this woman for being 38. You never really gave her a chance. You moved her around. You didn't do anything with her in NXT. Well, and she's 38, so you let her go because that's too old?
Well, the BS
it just makes no sense.
The BS of it is, in my opinion, the 2 best wrestlers in the company are not spring chickens when I'm talking about one man, one female. By their own admission, based on this new rule that is completely stupid, Charlotte Flair's got to be on her way out. She got started late because she only got inspired to wrestle from the unfortunate death of her brother. Number 2, AJ Styles, in his early 40s. This age thing is bull. It does not matter. And yet we'll literally send, and I'm fine with it, but we're literally probably someday going to see Triple H wrestle again. Someday. Have one more match.
I'm good with it.
He's just had a heart attack.
So did Jerry, but they still let him go out there.
So, if he's considered by a doctor, I get it. I'm fine. I don't care. But I'm saying these guys that, frankly, could have an issue, unlikely, but could have an issue in the middle of the ring, can be cleared, and that's fine. But these women, God forbid, they can't be. I mean,
look at Edge. Every single time he takes a bump, I get a little bit nervous.
They're looking for women like 25 and under. Google for me. How old is Charlotte Flair? I think she's
35.
35 years. By your own admission, the best women's wrestler of all time, in my opinion, and the woman that you have literally sucked ass with for years, is no longer up to snuff? What is that? That's the... Look, this... Every year, I think it can't get dumber, and it gets dumber. I don't know. Because now they're looking for women, 25 and under?
Yeah.
What is this, Ric Flair's promos in the 80s? Yikes. No, that's stupid. If you have it at 38, if you have it at 48, the key is, do you have it? The moment you no longer have it, then you can go. But I don't care if you're 72. If you still have it, I don't care. I don't.
Mae Young did.
I was going to say, they stuck Fabulous Moo and Mae Young out there to have technical matches.
And they got powerbombed through tables off the turnbuckles, for God's sake.
Because the amazing
What
thing
a great day that was.
The amazing thing is, and overall, I have such great respect and admiration for him. But all these ridiculous things we talk about, it's still the same guy running this company. It hasn't changed. It's the same dude this entire time. And suddenly he literally gets a fart up his ass and goes, I want younger women. Like this is a Howard Stern episode for him. I don't get it. I don't. I love him, but I don't understand, because you are the same guy that put Mae Young and Mulder in matches well past their prime. I mean, well past it.
Well, and, you know, his issue, which I don't understand, and I don't really agree with what I'm going to, it's his, I gotta believe his thinking is people don't think that old women are hot. You are sadly mistaken,
I was gonna
Vincent
say,
Kennedy McMahon,
I'm not on that
because
one.
I don't care if you're 18 years old, 16-year-old, 25-year-old, 35-year-old, 45-year-old males. If a woman's hot, she's hot.
Period. That's
like,
it.
That's just how it is. Like, it doesn't matter. Age is a number.
Because
she's hot. She's hot.
I mean, look at the 3 names I named.
Because
all beautiful women.
Because
just saying.
The sad part, and this is so disgusting, and I've always known this, and we've talked about it before, and then we'll go back to Full Gear, I swear. The sad part is it's whatever Vince finds attractive.
Yeah.
That's why it's always big. That's why it's always big-breasted blonde women. Because that's what he finds attractive. The reason Sable was fast-tracked, Jim Cornette went into this in detail because he hates Sable and thinks she's a no-good, worthless, and talentless hack. But the reason Sable was fast-tracked is because Vince Russo, and especially Vince McMahon, thought she was so good-looking. And they said, and he said, they used to sit around and fantasize and go, can you imagine her in white satin panties? That's the reason she was fast-tracked to the push. Because Vince thought she was so hot. That's why. Because Cornette would go, look at her, though. She's green as what? You know, he'd say something inappropriate. But he would say to him, she can't work at all. He literally told, I'm not verbatim, but paraphrasing. Look at her, pal. It doesn't matter. It's all about what Vince McMahon finds attractive. Don't believe me? Google Charlotte Flair when she first comes in NXT. Look at Charlotte Flair now. And I still think Charlotte Flair is I joke all the time about how attractive I think Charlotte Flair is. We've done that on the show a lot. Yeah. But taking away that gimmick for a second, look at her now. She's as
look at her like 2 years ago.
She's
just like when she first got there.
She's as plastic as she's as plastic as Pamela Anderson.
If you look at her from WrestleMania 31 that they did the triple threat match the first time.
Talking about 32 Dallas. Yeah.
Look at that compared to now.
It's
incredibly dramatic. Yeah.
And by her own admission, most of her surgeries have been not because WWE said do it, but they heavily implied, hey, we'd like you to.
And then, of course, other people wanted to have surgery.
Yeah.
They said, no surgeries.
Nope, can't do that. And it's again, I have a great respect and admiration for Vince, and I always will. We know that. Mm-hmm. But it is disgustingly pathetic that it's not about that he has such small foresight as a guy, even closer to 80 than he is 70. He doesn't think, other people will find her attractive as she is. He only thinks about, do I find her attractive? That's all he cares about. I'm not saying he hasn't grown to appreciate good women dressing. I think he has. But at the end of the day, look at all of them. Look at Becky Lynch is like the one exception. I'm sure there's a few others I'm really digging. But Dana Brooke, Charlotte Flair, all these, Mandy Rose before she dyed her hair, there's so many throughout history that are just hot, big-breasted blonde women because that's what he's into, even if that's not what they ever were. It's disgusting. All right. It's just, but yeah, that's why Sable Edward got to push.
Yep.
By own admission. Okay. Speaking of pushes that got to be stopped, the Inner Circle, they defeated the Men of the Year and America's Top Team. I'm going to let you talk about this one, McCarthy, because I got to take a sip because I'm hoarse. What'd you think of this match? Because I didn't yell too much.
Weakest match on the card. You know, it's...
You get used to that at that age.
Wow. I don't think it had anything to do with Chris Jericho's effort. Thank you very much.
I don't...
Still run circles around Goldberg in 10 years. However, 10-man tags are always hard to do. In that respect, it was a good match. The tributes to Eddie, those were fantastic. I mean, and hats off for putting Full Gear in Minnesota 16 years after Eddie died in Minnesota. Like, you know, WWE did a show in El Paso and Tony Khan did a show in Minnesota. And I don't think either one of those were by accident on the 16th anniversary of his death. But the right team won. You knew it was going to happen. You can't have, God, you can't have those guys beat them. Now, if it was Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page just versus Santana and Ortiz, then there's questions. Then it's like, okay, Santana and Ortiz are known. They've gotten their pushes. Why did they win? But you can't have your guys get beaten by green MMA guys unless Hager turned, and he didn't turn. And I will say, as I try to give the guys the benefit of the doubt, but there were a lot of missed spots by the MMA guys. One of them, Jericho had to yell at him. The big dude with the taped hands. I don't remember. Is it Junior Dos Santos? I think that was him. Jericho had to literally yell at him to get the spot right.
He's got no business in a wrestling ring. He's got no business being there with Chris Jericho.
I think no. He totally has respect for the business. You can tell because there's effort there. But he's too green to be in there with someone like Chris Jericho. He is. He should be wrestling on Rampage or even the YouTube shows. Yeah, he's a name and you don't want to throw him on YouTube, but you also can't put your other wrestlers in danger because he's a name. Like, it just makes no sense.
I thought it was similar to like what WWE was trying to do with Cain Velasquez a few years back. Like, we get what you're going for, but he's just too green to be taken seriously in a wrestling capacity. That's how I felt. Because yeah, Cain Velasquez, Brock Lesnar, big time appeal in an MMA octagon. Crown Jewel a few years ago, like, and it's the same thing. Like, I know Junior Dos Santos is a big deal in the MMA world. I respect that. I do. But you're getting in there with one of the biggest deals in the wrestling world there's ever been. A bigger deal than you are in the MMA world by comparison. He's Chris Jericho. He might be the greatest to ever do this. It's weird. No one does this because of ego. I get it. He either thought he could live up and didn't, or he knew he couldn't live up and should have said, I'm getting in with Chris Jericho and I can't do it. I can't help him. I can only put kind of a black mark, if that makes sense, right? Like, he's Chris Jericho.
I think everybody's trying to find their Ronda Rousey. The MMA person that can just jump right in and have it click. But if you were going to do that, should have gave Paige Van Zandt a shot at one of the women in the company.
Because that's who I look at and go, why haven't, and I'm sure they've tried, but why hasn't WWE or AEW tried to sign her? Because she's the closest thing to Ronda Rousey right now.
And
because
she
Ronda's
gets
away,
it. You can tell
having kids, and
she gets pro wrestling. You can tell from the promos she's cut. She gets it. Like, give her a shot.
And Ronda's always busy pissing me off with her comments on the business, because I don't care if she's working, I don't care if she's shooting. You can go to hell.
Funny stuff.
Yeah, is this the end of Dan Lambert? Hopefully in AEW.
Let's hope so. It didn't work. If it would have worked, I'd be singing a different tune, but it didn't work. It didn't help Scorpio Sky. It didn't help All Ego Ethan Page. It's time to move on, put them back in the tag title run, and maybe even think about, I don't want to say splitting the inner circle. They can still be friends, but it's time. I'm pretty sure I said this after the Pinnacle. It's time to let them go do their own things. And you know what? Love Chris Jericho. He can still go in that ring. But with what's going on with JR right now, if you still want a 3-man booth, you need to walk up to Chris and ask him, not even ask him, tell him, I need you to commentate in JR's place while he's going through these cancer treatments. Because JR doesn't even know what's going to happen. It starts on the 22nd, I think. So he's probably going to have to take a leave of absence. He's probably not going to be back for a while, if ever. He even said it. So you do what you did in the pandemic, and you walk up to Chris and you say what you need from him. And it's Chris frickin' Jericho. He's going to do it. And he's not going to think twice about it.
For clarification, because I think a little clickbait got involved there with that headline. If you read the whole interview, maybe you did, but Jim Ross he said, I might miss time. I might not miss any time.
Yeah. Yeah, so, no, I read it. That's why I said, who knows? But I mean, if you you're gonna miss a week.
I just thought thought the headlines they were going with kind of made it clickbaitish. Where
they always did with the Jake Roberts thing. Yeah.
What pro wrestling website doesn't do that bullshit?
But that wasn't a they. That was a he. I'm talking to you, Dave Meltzer. I respect his reporting, but in the last 5 years or so, he's become a real ass.
Yeah.
Well, he's just like all the rest of them, dirt sheet writers.
Yeah.
Well, and like McCarthy said, what wrestling website doesn't do like Wrestle Talk. I look to Wrestle Talk a lot for certain things. They do this. They do it probably the most out of almost everybody.
I think Ringside News does it the most.
Yeah.
They're awful.
But Wrestle Talk is god awful when it comes off to that stuff.
But they're all bad.
Yeah, they are.
That's why I like Bleacher Report, nobody else. Those articles are few and far between when you go to Bleacher Report. They're informative articles from wrestling fans. You can tell they're wrestling fans, just not looking for clickbait.
Yeah, Bleacher Report does do a good job. I do have to give them credit.
I agree.
Everybody else, as far as I'm concerned, all those other wrestling websites can blow me.
What did you say, McCarthy?
I said all those other wrestling websites can blow me. They're more worried about clicks than actual stories.
This is the more rated R edition.
Woo!
But meaning like a window per se.
Yeah, blow me some money and hire me so you can have real wrestling instead of the bullshit you put out there just for clicks.
I think
he's trying to clean it up, but still said bullshit.
Yeah, I like wrestling a fair amount. Bryan Danielson defeated Miro.
Woo!
McCarthy, the wrong guy won. Changed my mind.
It's Bryan Danielson. What do you mean the wrong guy won?
It's too early.
Miro wasn't even supposed to be in this tournament. And can you imagine the pop that Adam Hangman Page is going to get when he does what Kenny Omega couldn't do and beat Bryan Danielson 1, 2, 3? It's going to be amazing.
I actually agree with you on this one.
I think Miro needed the win because he can. You're right. The American Dragon, leader of the Yes Movement, whatever you want to call him. Who's Miro?
Not anybody anymore. I mean,
he was God's favorite champion for like 3 weeks.
Yep.
Then God changed his mind.
He was the Redeemer. This could have been his redemption.
And so, obviously, Hangman Adam Page is probably going to have it until we're all gray-haired. Except McCarthy already is. You and I are gray-haired. Going to lose anyway.
Yep.
I don't think you have that match this soon.
I don't either.
Because there's big matches you could still... think about it.
Plus, I know he had the match against Kenny Omega, but... And he's had a couple few good matches recently, but how did he climb to the rankings this high, this quick?
He got in the tournament. That's how. Okay? He got in the tournament, and he won the tournament. That's how tournaments work.
I agree with Logan. I don't think he should have won the tournament this quickly.
I think Miro wins and says, I beat Bryan Danielson, proving the only reason you rev more over than me in WWE, something along these lines, is because I was being held down by a bad creative.
Yeah.
There's so much you can touch on here because, frankly, and for some reason AEW isn't going there yet, Bryan Danielson can be the guy that people complain about and go, yeah, you're a great wrestler, but guess what you ended up being? Another product of the machine in Connecticut.
But it's come out and shown
how do we
that's
not get
what
there?
it was. That the fans made him.
Yeah, but still,
they wanted to hold him down.
Once they get behind you, he becomes
Miro
a product of said
coming
machine,
out,
which goes against his entire lifelong thing.
And the aspect of him beating Bryan Danielson and then coming out and saying, you were only better than me in that other company because I was held down by bad creative.
Yeah.
What happens next? People like you bitch because he goes ahead and trashes WWE's creative again. How many times do you guys, when they let their real feelings out about WWE, how many times do people bitch? Oh, quit talking about the other company.
That's
blah,
fine.
blah, 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 blah.
Fair. Tell me one time people have bitched about that creative and they did anything to push or further anything other than being a big whining session looking like Jesse Pinkman in a group meeting.
I will say, I think that's the difference. They've done that, but it's never furthered a story. They've done it for the most part when they first come in and it's just trying to get that off their chest, which is great. We've seen that before in wrestling, but they've never used it to a point where it actually, they have a couple times, but it's very few and far between. But they've rarely used it to a point where it furthers a storyline.
Yes, you're right. I would probably hypocritically complain, but I also get frustrated just as much at WWE when Miro pushed to the moon, TNT God's favorite champion for a little while there. Great run. And then same thing that happens in WWE pisses me off. Oh, Drew McIntyre loses, so he's got to go on a losing streak. Why do we always have to go on a losing streak? I don't understand that in any company. NWA does it. And it bothers me because it's don't tell me what I just watched for 6 months was a lie because I just watched you barrel through.
I don't know. It sounds like you guys are taking this like he got beat by Dante Martin or something.
No,
Bryan freaking Danielson.
Yes, it's Bryan Danielson, but you know what it was? It was obvious. It was obvious.
It was obvious when he entered the tournament. Just like it was obvious Adam Hangman Page was going to win the title. Doesn't make it any worse.
But when it's necessary, that's okay, fine. We knew Sting was going to win at Starrcade. That story built to that. Fine. But with Miro and Bryan Danielson, no one is no one's going, oh my God, this is finally Bryan's moment. It's not the same thing.
That's not what they're going for.
They don't know what they're going for.
What do you mean they don't know what they're going for? They wanted Bryan Danielson to win this to help Adam Hangman Page get that much over when he beats him because no one can beat Bryan Danielson.
Okay, so then he beats Bryan Danielson.
And if that's your plan, why change it because Jon Moxley needs to take time off? Why change it if that's your plan? If Bryan Danielson would have gotten hurt and Miro took his place, then maybe you make changes. But no, Jon Moxley needed time off, not Bryan Danielson.
I hear you.
Why change the plan just because Miro got put in the tournament at the last minute?
But it shouldn't have ever been the plan. It shouldn't have ever been the plan. Stop. Look, Bryan Danielson is a made man to the AEW fans. That kind of the diehard wrestling fan. Bryan Danielson is Ric Flair. He can take as many losses as you want him to take.
Yeah.
Miro can't. And so, no, yes, it's nitpicking, and I respect that. I get that, I know. But all kidding aside, man, we just didn't see that coming.
How much more is it going to mean when in his first title defense, Adam Hangman Page beats the person that no one can beat in AEW right now?
If anything, though,
That's what their plan is.
Who's going to beat Heyman?
That's where I come. That's
It's
where
random. We said this about Kenny Omega months ago. He's beat everybody. Who's going to beat him? It's the power of storytelling. It's the power of saying that on any given night, the top guy cannot be in top form and lose. It's like a sports-based product. That stuff happens in sports. Who'd have thought 4 weeks ago? Who'd have thought 4 weeks ago that the Patriots would walk all over the Cleveland Browns?
Me.
If anyone would have said that 4 weeks ago, the world would have said they were freaking crazy.
They did.
Look,
I said it, and they thought I was crazy.
Turned around, and now they're the freaking same old Patriots. Just because they're doing that in pro wrestling and it's predetermined, it's not okay.
Browns are trash. What are you talking about?
Are you mad because you're a Dolphins fan?
He is.
Hey, we won on Thursday, okay?
Thanks. Look, I was rooting for you.
We took care of the Baltimore Ravens.
Thank you.
All right.
We gave their quarterback the worst game of his career. The lowly Miami Dolphins and our staunch defense that disappeared for like a month and a half, but that is neither here nor there.
All right. Fine. Fine. Then tell me if I'm wrong here. CM Punk defeated Eddie Kingston. Wrong guy won. Wrong guy won.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Thank God. I thought you'd really lost it.
Not wrong. No, even if you call that, that's a situation you call on the fly. That's when you go, oh my God, they're booing CM Punk and cheering Eddie Kingston. Yeah, that's when you get on the microphone, tell the referee that there's been a change. That's something that you do on the fly because the fans dictated it. The fans made their choice, just like the fans made their choice to help Daniel Bryan, he was Daniel Bryan then, so I got it right this time, win the WWE Championship.
Now, I'll fully admit I didn't get to watch a lot of Full Gear, and I've kind of watched some highlights here and there, but I didn't get to watch Full Gear. Pulling back the curtain a little bit. But I do know he got injured. Is that correct?
Yeah, he got injured. I haven't had a chance to look to see if it's serious or not.
Is that why they made this decision then? Or do you think that this was the original decision?
I think the original plan was to have CM Punk win, but I think you should have changed it the second the crowd turned on CM Punk.
That's kind of like
he was still getting some cheers, but I mean that crowd was pro Eddie Kingston.
Because that kind of throws me back to Extreme Rules because, as you remember, because you and I were there, when they had that triple threat with Damian, Sheamus, and Hardy, I think they should have had Hardy win the title. Because if you would have listened to that crowd like we did, that place would have lost their minds. Yep. If Hardy had won that title.
It's incredible how over he still is with how abused he's been booking wise.
I'm still waiting for that Willow turn, but we'll see.
Maybe. No, it's.
But I agree with both of you. Wrong guy.
CM Punk.
That was a brutal affair too. Holy shit. I've never seen two guys on TV gas so fast because they're beating the shit out of each other.
Well, that
shit was wild.
Just watch the Goldberg Taker match.
I was gonna say,
that was totally different. That was someone that shouldn't be out there.
I mean, they were still beating the shit out of each other.
I don't think it's fair that either one of them should be out there. It was a perfect storm of crappiness. And
probably literally too.
Yeah. So and they're both
at their age,
and they're both bigger deals than CM Punk. So.
Ooh, ouch.
Look,
I mean,
fair.
I can't argue that point.
Look, I wish that either, and I don't know because we're not privy to the backstage decisions and whatever mood that Tony Khan's in this hour. But I wish that either he or Phil would go, look, I don't need to win all the time. Everybody knows how big of a deal I am. I was/am, will always be the best in the world. I'm an icon. You know what I mean? He's a big damn deal. This return has fallen so flat thus far because there's no plan, no story, he's not. They're doing the same thing, and I'll let it slide because it's Undertaker. They're doing the same thing that Vince does with Undertaker. I know he's retired, whatever, but let's pretend Undertaker's not retired for a second. Undertaker's probably going over if he wrestles again, right? Probably. And the idea is going to be, well, whoever he faces he's in there with the Undertaker. And as a selfish fan, Undertaker should never lose. Selfish fan. The reality is, though, the only way you really get the rubs, the wrestling kind, are if occasionally you take the loss. Because the idea of Tony Khan, I'm sure, is that, well, even if CM Punk beats Darby Allin or beats Eddie Kingston, beats whomever, or beats Joe Blow, or beats whomever, I don't care. Beats Joe Blow. Who cares? Beats Jack Mehoff. I don't care. Whatever. The idea is he's CM Punk. You're in the ring with him. There you go. When the reality is, you probably need to lose here and there. Just like with Taker, all kidding aside, complete bias fan taken out for a second. For the betterment of the business, he should have lost at 31 against Bray. For the sake of the storyline, he should have lost at 32 against Shane. He did rightfully lose at 33 against the most overrated tribal chief I've ever seen. 34, they should have had an actual match. 36, if it's going to be your last match, you should lose. So there's a few that I just listed.
Did you see the interview where he said that it should have been Roman to break the streak?
I don't agree with him there.
I do.
Because of this. Everybody forgets this. So I'm not faulting him. Brock Lesnar was flipping irrelevant before ending the streak. His big win was beating CM Punk. He lost to John Cena. He lost to Triple H. He was just coming in to put people over. The only win he had was Beast versus Best in the World at SummerSlam. Think about where Brock Lesnar was, and I know it's hard to think about, but people forget. Yes, Suplex City was born with John Cena, but what sent him on the Suplex City run was ending the streak. He was irrelevant in terms of a wrestling draw at that point. He was just like, oh, it's Brock Lesnar. He's on the card. Oh, he's probably going to lose. McCarthy, remember that?
Yeah, you're not wrong, bud.
So yes, Roman maybe could have used it more because he's not named Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar was literally Goldberg. And what I mean by that is, win or lose, you went Goldberg's on the card. Cool. But as far as, oh my God, the Beast and Suplex City and all these amazing things that have happened since the end of the streak, they weren't going to happen because when would that big win have come to catapult him into the stratosphere to the point that Paul Heyman said in a promo he'd been elected God? You know, I disagree. I understand where Taker's coming from. I really do. Nice to hear him not complain about the locker room for once. But everybody forgets. It's weird. Like, everybody really forgets how irrelevant Brock Lesnar was other than just a name attraction. You can only name one big win before beating Taker, and that was the lackluster CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman thing. Seriously, look it up. He loses his first match back to John Cena at Extreme Rules. So yeah, I don't get why people go, well, Brock didn't need it.
Well, and here's another aspect of that. Like, Undertaker's saying this now with the current Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. I don't think Roman Reigns back then could have been what he is right now. Because it would have turned him heel, like, straight up.
Roman Reigns, but
Vince would have never done it yet.
Vince wouldn't have. That's the problem. Vince would have never did it. But if they had, it would have been the biggest thing to ever happen to wrestling for a very, very long time because of what happened after he won. Can you imagine him turning heel after the crowd booing that he got?
Yeah,
like
that's what should have happened, in my opinion. But if Taker, and this isn't even my fan, I'm getting in the way here, in my opinion. But if Taker feels so strongly about Roman Reigns, he obviously does. He says that, he regrets he couldn't give him the proper match at 33 and things like that, and says, well, he should have ended the streak. Then here's what you do. You want to fix that as much as you can fix that? You tell Vince, all right, I'll be ready next year or the year after that. We'll do Roman one time. I lose, I'm retired. Last match, period. And I'm saying you give him like a full year. Get in there and do it then. If you think, if in his heart he knows he could have done better, if in his heart he knows Roman deserves better, it fits the storyline, head of the table, you can easily shift that to, I entrusted you with the deed to the yard because you were a decent human being, and now you've gone rogue. You're not fit to run this company the way I did.
Yeah. Because
if the Undertaker's not the dead man anymore, we don't need to rest in peace. We can talk about the realism of he was passing the deed to the yard to Roman Reigns.
And they could use the character that they used in this last WrestleMania. I mean...
And I swear, in this case, for this one moment, it's not me clamoring to see one more match of The Undertaker. Because keep on what I just suggested to you. Here's how you know it's true. I just suggested he lose to Roman Reigns. The last person I want to see him lose to is Roman Reigns. I hate that guy. So I'm saying that Taker always goes, boy, I wish I could have gave him the match he deserved, something better than what he had, or I'd love to work with this version of Roman Reigns. Then get your ass up on the couch and do it. We need you because Dwayne won't show up. Go. Do it. Doesn't have to be great. You can even get your ass kicked for 5 minutes and be obliterated and never be seen from in a wrestling form again. Yeah. Go get killed. Go get, crushed in 5 minutes. Get like one offensive maneuver.
Have another buried alive match.
And you can, that way he can, because what's John Cena say about him in the feud? He said, well, when you lose, you tuck your head in shame and never be seen or heard from again. You can do that. And obviously he would be back for certain special moments. But overall, have him have one more match in front of people in Dallas, Texas, and he gets his ass kicked. He gets killed. Just 10 minutes of him just getting to the point of uncomfortable like we did with John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Didn't that get uncomfortable at a certain point?
After about suplex number 10.
Yeah, you're like, what is going on? Do that to Taker. Number one, he deserves it because he deserves to have a final match in front of people. Number two, it's his hometown, Dallas, Texas, and Roman, obliterates him. Like I said, maybe get like one tombstone in just for nostalgia's sake, because people did probably will come see you and want to see that.
Or, do the triangle choke or whatever.
But like 1 to 2 offensive maneuvers. Other than that, get killed.
Because usually he does that whenever it's like a last gasp effort.
Right.
Like he'll throw the triangle choke on somebody. Yeah.
Do one thing and just get killed. Because he already said I can get through one more match. It just wouldn't live up to fans' expectations. So then stop expecting that.
Yep.
Then stick him out there and get his ass kicked one last time. McCarthy, thoughts on that random idea that just came to me?
I wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be a good spot for Undertaker and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Because who's Roman going to wrestle at WrestleMania at this point? Are we going to have Brock Lesnar again? Probably, because they just, I don't know. I have questions. But
because
I don't have answers. I'm sorry.
Because I think it's an easy story to tell with the loss at 33 on top of the times we saw Taker and Roman, team at Extreme Rules, and Taker can cut a promo essentially saying, "Look, you were this good, decent guy that I entrusted to leave this place with, and now look at you. Look what you've done to this place. He can be that." Old grizzled veteran that goes, that's not what this place needs. I know what this place needs. I've been here longer than you've been alive.
You want me to acknowledge you?
Yeah, one more time.
Acknowledge this is still my yard.
And then then go out there. You have the classic entrance, do the whole 9, and then maybe 1 to 2 offensive maneuvers, and then he gets killed. He gets absolutely
not literally, just
maybe. Maybe.
Some of those shots Roman gives, I don't know.
Because that way he gave back in the best way he could currently. Because he can't go give a fight.
Dying in the ring? No.
Well, no, but people act like he's going to die in the ring. That's not, like, he has no history of heart issues.
No, he doesn't.
Like, people go, well, he's going to die in there. No, he's probably going to break a hip, which does not kill people.
If it gets infected, it does.
What?
I said if the break gets infected, it does.
Yeah, when you're geriatric. And I understand.
He's close.
Well, I know McCarthy is, but we're trying to cut him a break. But I'm just saying, I think that's because he always talks about, want to get back, want to do this, you go out there and do it. Do it. One more time.
We should probably finish Full Gear.
Probably.
Oh, wait, but before we move on along with Full Gear, here's the biggest problem with Eddie beating CM Punk. This is the first match that CM Punk has had in AEW that had a freaking story behind it. And you ruined it. Because now what? Now what? Eddie Kingston wants to wrestle him again? Prove that he can beat him? No, the better story is to have Eddie Kingston brag about beating CM Punk, showing him that he's just as good as him because he held him down for so long in the independence. It's egregious that Eddie Kingston lost. It's egregious. I disagree with the decision to put CM Punk over.
Lucha Brothers defeated FTR. Thoughts, McCarthy?
That match was legit, man. They beat the hell out of each other.
Right team wins?
Just like they always do. Yeah, hell yeah, the right team won. The Lucha Brothers run isn't done yet.
What? Why? Why do you say no?
I said hell yeah.
No, but he said no.
I said no.
Oh.
I just feel like FTR is going down this bad rabbit hole. It's another one of those ones where it surprised me.
Kind of like Proud and Powerful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like suddenly they're lost in the shuffle, and I'm scared about that because you know I'm an FTR guy. You know, they've
had like 4 shots at the AEW World Tag Team Championships.
Say it again.
What do you mean lost in the shuffle?
Say it again.
They've had like 4 opportunities at the AEW World Tag Team Championships. What do you mean lost in the shuffle?
And they are the AAA Tag Team Champions, aren't they? Still?
Like Proud and Powerful, I'll give you. Lost in the shuffle for sure. But FTR?
I feel like, pardon me, I feel like we're heading towards the shuffle.
Like they're about to...
Yeah, I feel like we're
about to push them off the cliff.
And we're about to... Here's the shuffle. Come catch the hamster wheel. That was great, by the way. Hope you enjoyed that.
That was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
This is my thought. MJF defeated Darby Allin. Yeah, I guess the right guy won, but I'm a Darby mark. Thoughts, Mr. McCarthy?
I mean, honestly, I think this was the best wrestled match of the night. These two took it to each other and showed how good they really are, and that they are they're not the future. They're the now. It's before we know it, they're both going to have held that championship. Because I think it's going to be a long time before we get a 2-time AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Does Chris Jericho ever do that?
No.
Do what?
Become world champion again?
No.
Nope.
I think the only people are probably Mox and Kenny that could be second-time champions right now. And that's years down the road.
I think Kenny certainly will. Probably Moxley. I would assume so, because I think he's a lifer.
I think you got a better chance of Cody Rhodes being champion than Chris Jericho being 2-time champion.
Yeah, I would have to concur.
Better odds, Cody turning heel or Chris Jericho champ?
I mean, the way Cody dug in his heels, I'm going to say Chris Jericho champ.
I actually would too.
That's why I asked the question.
But I don't think Jericho would want to because, yes, he's the greatest of all time, but I don't know if he can handle that top spot anymore. I don't think his body can. His mouth can. He cut the promos. That's not a problem. But we've seen when he pushes himself too hard, his matches do suffer. That's why he's probably done all these multi-man matches lately. So not everything's on him.
Speaking of Cody, what do you think of him deleting his Twitter?
He's crying like a woman because we're all right. That's what I think.
I think
I'm proud of the autograph that I have of him, and I'm saying it. Because he's wrong.
You know why he's doing it, though?
Probably so he can go back on his burner account.
No, he said he's switching everything over to Instagram. But I think McCarthy's answer is way better.
Of course my answer is way better, because that makes no sense. We all have these stupid-ass apps on our phone, and I hate social media, and I use it. Stop crying, Cody. Turn heel, damn it.
Wow.
It's weird. I've grown to respect Cody more during all this process. Yeah. I know I'm a rarity on that, because I like when you go, you know what, to hell with you, I'm going to do it my way. And we'll see if his way is correct in the end.
We've already seen that it's not.
Hold on. Give me a second.
Nobody cares anymore.
Give him a second.
It's been 2.5 months, if not longer. They don't care about this character of Cody Rhodes anymore.
Let the gifts of gab speak.
We all that wasn't that literally if we were attracted to a sex, we were all sick of John Cena at one point. Everybody. Somebody we all went through our I'm sick of this John Cena phase. I did. Maybe Napper didn't, I don't know. But you did.
For sure.
And you know what? To John's credit, he told us all respectfully to go to hell. And he just dealt with it. And now, if he turned heel now during his rare time back, we'd be like, no! We want good guy. What?
Who wants good guy John Cena? Have you seen him play a bad guy on these movies? It's great.
No.
He wants to see good guy John Cena.
No, when he comes back to a WWE ring, you want good guy John Cena, and you would find it would be wrestling's version of the clumsy stranger at this point. You want John Cena to be John Cena when he comes on back. You want to never give up. You want the let's go to work. You want all the greatest hits.
I'd rather see the Doctor of Thugonomics, sir.
Well, that's because you're geriatric. But
wow, that's egregious.
But you're closer to geriatric than me. So
that's fair.
Which is saying a lot.
My point being is maybe, and I know it's not cool and it's not right and it's not, it's not in vogue with the AEW lifestyle. I know it's a whole thing. But maybe in 6 months to a year, Cody figures out how to be the babyface while giving little tweaks like John did.
But here's the problem. We got tired of John Cena because of the 5 moves of doom. That's what doomed John Cena. Now, it's John Cena. I'm not bitching about the 5 moves of doom, but no, you know why? Because he had that match with Kevin Owens, because he had the United States Open Challenge and showed the world that he can do more than 5 moves, and people started changing their mind. What can Cody show us that he hasn't already to make us change our minds? We already know Cody can go.
We already know Cody to another side of a babyface version.
And remind you, the biggest proponent of Cody Rhodes since he showed up at AEW on this show is saying all of this.
I hear you. It's funny how we switched roles, because 2 years ago I couldn't stand the guy.
I know, right?
But I and I said this, I think, during my last episode, whether I agree with somebody or not in any aspect, I don't care what it is, politics, wrestling, sports, if that's the way you feel, I respect you if you feel it, if that's the way you truly feel. Even if I think that's a load of crap. But if you really feel that way, because authenticity in everything in life is so rare these days. Every aspect, everything, pop culture, politics, wrestling, doesn't matter. Your personal life. So even if I wholeheartedly disagree with you, I will go, well, if that's the way you feel that way and you're willing to die on that hill, then at least you're not a sham, a coward. If for some reason that's the hill you want to die on, whether that's right or not, I can respect that. Because you know what? There is a certain level that goes, you know what? Yes, listen to your fans, and the fans are lifeblood of this industry. I think we proved that during the pandemic. But at the same time, it's Cody's character. It's Cody's life work. So it's this odd blend. You either like it or you don't. And I respect those that don't currently like it. I know it's a little hypocritical, but newsflash, this is wrestling. It's all hypocritical. It's all hypocritical. You want more AEW hypocrisy? You ready? You ready? You scared? You should be.
Yeah, a little bit.
Guess who came in to AEW? Right? Jay Lethal. You know what he's been accused of by Taylor Hendricks? Not very good things. Just Google it. Wrestling is full of hypocrites. It doesn't matter. It sucks. Hulk Hogan's a liar. Or is he? We don't know. Because this whole thing's a work. So that's the way it is.
It's all over, brother.
It's the way it is. It's not right. It's not fair. Speaking of Cody, how about him getting a win he doesn't need? What'd you think of that?
Oh, boy.
Gross.
Whoops.
Miscarriage of justice. Facetiously egregious.
All right.
Do I need to keep going?
And lastly, before we move it along, and I'm not trying to disrespect Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, but so I don't want to go over the match. Who's the gal to beat Britt Baker, for God's sake? Napper. Yeah, I know.
Serena Deeb.
Yeah.
Do they need to push her more to do it? Yes. But is it believable? You're goddamn right.
I got a shot in the dark.
Not just your damn right.
I got a shot in the dark.
Good.
Anna J.
All right. How about you? What'd you say, Mr. McCarthy?
I said Serena Deeb.
All right.
That's a good one, too.
I like it. They're probably just hoping Charlotte Flair signs. So, and Ashley is what I assume should be called there.
Yeah.
Jay Lethal is now all elite.
Oh, goody.
Now I know that I said what I said, and it's true. Just Google it. Doesn't mean it's true that it happened.
I don't want to Google it.
I'm saying he's been accused of some heinous things by Hannah Hendricks.
I'm scared.
McCarthy, were you aware of that?
Yes.
Oh, God, I'm such an evil bastard. And don't get me wrong, I'm not happy about that. No, if he did those things, it's heinous. But did you know those things when he showed up on the television the other night?
Yeah.
Did you think about it?
Of course I did. Did I cheer that he was there? No. No, I didn't.
So, would you say, crazy thought, would you say it's a little hypocritical for him to be there, based on the allegations?
Probably.
I missed you so much. I missed you.
I missed you too, buddy.
Thank you sincerely for a second. I didn't get a chance to say it to you earlier because, you act like this show doesn't run 3 hours.
I have work, sir.
Yeah, I know. This is work right here.
I have work that pays me.
I pay you in laughter. And someday this is going to pay us all. It might not pay us much, but it will pay us.
That's fair.
Can't wait till we make our first 10 cents. All right.
I think we've made that.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right. So my question is, we know the allegations. Forget about that for a second. Are you excited to see him on any level, or because of those issues, are you not excited at all?
I wasn't that much of a Jay Lethal fan to begin with.
Okay, let's talk about that. Do the allegations have anything to do with that, or you just didn't like Jay Lethal?
I just didn't like Jay Lethal. Did I laugh at, Black Machismo and his Macho Man stuff?
Yeah,
sure, who didn't? But I still haven't seen anything from him that proves that he can just stand on his own accord and not make fun of or update old characters.
Well, you know what they called him in Ring of Honor, don't you? They called him the franchise.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They wanted to bury that under the rug. They wouldn't call him a rapist. My bad.
Huh. I mean, I don't know about the copyright on that T-shirt, or that'd be tough to sell. I mean, I'm sure Alex Jones is working on it, but be tough to sell.
Yeah, that would be tough to sell, but murderers can write books. This country is weird.
Yep. Jay Lethal is welcome in AEW. Ric Flair, so far, no. Huh.
Hey, they never said no to Ric Flair.
Look, he's starting a podcast with Martin Madden. They said no.
That can't be proven until he tells us on the podcast, okay?
He's speaking for Donald Trump, Herschel Walker, and starting a podcast with Mark Madden. They said no.
Yeah, that's going to, really ingratiate him to the masses.
I hear you, but he obviously needs the money. That's what people go, well, I can't believe he would do that. Number one, he's an outspoken Republican, has been for a long time. Number two, which is probably more important, number two in this case, he's broke for his means of living. It means he's got to do what he's got to do. So if old 45 calls up and goes, hey, it's going to be a great event, believe me.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm good.
Yeah.
I wish Alex Bryan was on this show for a quick hot minute because he does an incredible impression of 45.
So
It's gonna be huge. I can't do it.
There you
Sorry,
go.
I
It's
tried.
going to be huge.
So when people be like, well, how can you support that? Look, I know Rick's trying to do his thing, man. He's got mouths to feed and drinks to spill. So yeah, I'm just gonna guess they said no. Maybe not. I hope not. I want to see him in there someday. Cause do you know how hard I'm going to mark out the day he steps foot in an AEW ring? Don't you look forward to that episode of To the Turnbuckle? Don't you look forward to that?
Yes.
Very much so. And I look forward to seeing you in the t-shirt someday too.
It would happen. It would. So go ahead. Get that alleged sexual assaulter on your roster.
I would buy the t-shirt before he does just to piss him off.
No.
That would be hilarious.
It's egregious. Do you not respect me at all?
I do.
I just went through a loss.
Yeah, Travis, keep that in mind in 8 months when Ric Flair shows up and you want to buy the shirt.
He won't let me forget it.
You think I'm playing? You think I'm playing?
I think that would be the first live knife edge chop on the show.
Watch, we show up wearing the shirt same day. I'll be like Peter Griffin. Oh, that is bullshit. And then we knife edge chop for whoever loses. Whoever loses has to be shirtless the rest of the show. I think that's fair.
Okay.
All right. What are your thoughts so far, ladies and gentlemen? Hold on. McCarthy, anything else you want to discuss about Full Gear besides the fact that Baron Ron Rasky made a nice appearance and gave him the old claw?
That was great. That was great.
That was amazing. Anything else you would like to discuss, sir? I know we've been all over the place on this edition, as we are every damn week, but it's the best 3 hours you're going to find.
I mean, it was an amazing pay-per-view. Once again, they knocked it out of the park, but God, I'm always so tired. There's always so much emotion involved in great wrestling. It's tiring for the viewers. I'm not complaining about great wrestling and emotion. I'm just saying it's tiring. You run out of energy quick at home.
Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you. Probably going to copyright strike on that, but
Probably.
I mean,
what do you
didn't have
expect? The
music
man's got
behind
kids.
it. It's
I'm a
fine.
farmer, Neil. I'm a farmer. Do it for me. What am I farming? My career. Trying to water it.
Make it grow.
Trying to water it. All right. What do you think of the NXT 2.0 reboot so far, Mr. Napper?
I like it. I really do. And
Got some sex appeal.
It does. It really does. And I think they've done a good job of promoting the new guy while also still keeping around a majority of the old NXT. I've been impressed. There have been a couple shows that have been kind of There are a couple storylines where I'm still kind of like, where are we going with this? What are we doing here? But like I said, whenever I was talking about Halloween Havoc a couple weeks ago, you could tell they were kind of doing a little bit of a reset when it came to most of the champions, because when you look at who won some of the champions, like the women's championship, Mandy Rose wins it. The women's tag team champion, Toxic Attraction, wins it. So they were doing a reset on the women's division. They kind of did a reset with the North American title with having, what's his name? Carmelo Hayes win it. But they still kind of kept a little bit of the old NXT by having Tommaso still win and having Imperium win the tag titles. So I'm glad they're kind of keeping that balance. But I haven't been down on anything they've really done with NXT so far. I think it looks good. The lights sometimes are still a little bit much, especially when they pan back to that entrance. Like that, I almost feel like that maybe has to go. I like the look of it when they do the entrances for the wrestlers, but whenever it's a match, all the colors and everything is just, it's too much sometimes.
It's bright.
It's bright as hell.
It's like Vince was like, damn, it's dark in here. That's what it's like.
That being said, I do have some complaints. Like, it feels like they've completely forgotten about LA Knight, so I don't know what they're doing there. That's honestly about it. But I think they've done as good a job as they did when NXT was still a thing. Honestly, the ratings are probably going to be the deciding factor in that, but I've enjoyed it.
Of course, I don't think Tommaso Ciampa's long for NXT. I don't
either.
He just said in an interview he by his own admission doesn't fit what they have in mind for NXT 2.0. You know, he's a last of the old guard kind of.
He's a grizzled young veteran.
He's not that young, based on all that gray. What do you think, Mr. McCarthy, of NXT 2.0? What do you think of Tommaso Ciampa kind of admitting that he doesn't fit the NXT mold anymore?
He's not wrong. Not even a little bit. I mean, and honestly, with NXT, it's like this now. It used to always be up here, and now it's on a roller coaster every show. Like, you'll have great matches, but then you'll have, I'm going to challenge you to a poker off between really good wrestlers. Why can't they just wrestle? Why are we having a poker off? Just beat the hell out of each other like we want to see. I dig the poker player character. That's not the problem.
Why are we having Mimosa Mayhem?
Because it was fun.
Well, poker is fun.
Yes, in the back room or in casinos.
With the NBA.
Yeah, poker off. See, and at least the Mimosa Mayhem was kind of a wrestling match. A poker off is playing poker in the middle of the ring. That's a stark difference, good sir.
Not if somebody goes through the poker table.
That's just another gimmick to put somebody through a table. That's nothing different. This is supposed to be different. It's supposed to be NXT 2.0.
That's a bad thing.
They got rid of TakeOver, for God's sakes. And they're having war games for some reason.
You say that like putting somebody through a poker table is a bad thing.
I mean, it's not.
What you got against poker tables?
I love the Andre Chase vignettes and segments.
Yeah.
I love them.
I still don't understand Joe Gacy's character.
I think I get it.
But you don't like it?
I think it's Vince's subtle way of saying screw you to kind of the new era woke movement, to be honest with you.
It's cancel culture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very subtle.
So what does that make Harlan?
He looks like Michael Myers without the mask. That's what I think my opinion is of the Gacy character. Because, again, we talked about this with the vaccine stuff a little bit. Vince is a true blue, tried and true Trump supporting Republican. Mm-hmm. He was at Vince McMahon himself was at Donald Trump's victory celebration the night he was elected. He was there at 3 a.m. So I maybe I'm wrong, but I personally think that Gacy is this stuff is so stupid, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell is woke? I'm awake.
And somehow I feel like that happened in a meeting.
What the hell is woke, pal?
He goes,
we're always woke.
He goes, I sleep 3 hours a night. What are you talking about? And so that's what I think it is. I love the Andre Chase vignettes, Chase you and the whole nine, especially when he was talking about the dumbass class. You want to go be in the dumbass class? It was great. I loved it. Some of the Halloween Havoc stuff and the referee, and it's weird. It's It's like Vince is left alone to his own vices on NXT now. Because I see some of the best and worst of him. Some of his really good ideas that are a little bit more edgy. And then, oh my God, we've jumped the shark. So, what do you think, McCarthy, of NXT? The rumors are they could become a TV 14 product where Raw is better to remain PG. Do you want to see a more edgy NXT as we're kind of getting? You want it to get more edgy? Do you want a sex celebration on TV, perhaps?
Oh, jeez. Not that again. Think wisely.
Can they write their own shit? That's all I ask. If they're going to go TV 14, you need to let them do their own promos.
I agree with you, but...
Because what's the difference if the writer's writing it? Because it's not going to make every difference. You're putting words in somebody's mouth.
Because now they can say shit.
I was going to say, I think Vince can write a better promo when he can say what he really wants to say.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Vince can, but not the people that he hires to write for his wrestlers. Oh, I'm sorry. Sports entertainment.
Yeah, drama writers can't write.
I hear
you say they can't write. They don't know how to write for professional wrestling because they have no idea how professional wrestling works.
I mean, they're probably
and they don't care to because they get a paycheck.
Well, they're probably just checking Tony Khan's Twitter feed. You know, that's...
Well, he's not a writer, so that's probably a bad decision.
He's not a poet, and he didn't even know it.
He's a booker, damn it, not a writer.
Oh, he's...
He booked the cards, doesn't he? Booker. Are they always good cards? Not always. Are the pay-per-view cards always good? You're goddamn right they are.
No, they're not.
Not always.
No, they're not.
Full Gear wasn't good.
No, they're not always good.
Name one AEW pay-per-view that wasn't off the charts. Name one. I'll tell you none.
Full Gear.
Full Gear wasn't that great.
Full Gear was awesome. It had one bad match, and it wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even WWE bad.
No, I didn't say the quality. You said card on paper. Tell me. Let's look at this card. We're going to do this.
Okay, Kenny Omega versus Adam Hangman Page closing a 2-year story. Awesome.
That's pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk, 15 years of animosity between the two.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
Ty Conti finally getting a shot at Dr. Britt Baker and showing what she can do. That's a good match.
No.
DMD's a draw.
No, she's not a... No. Look, here's the reality. This is going to sound bad, I know.
Wow, one of the biggest proponents is now hating on Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
I'm not hating on her, but there's not a major draw in women's wrestling. Nobody buys a pay-per-view to watch
There
her.
are people that bought that pay-per-view to watch her. You know there are.
No.
Just because you're not drawing
like 20 of them that are admiring a
Bill
poster in their
Goldberg
basement?
shitty ass.
No.
Doesn't mean you can't draw a little bit. There are people that paid money to watch Bryan Danielson. There are people that paid money to watch the Inner Circle. I paid money to watch everyone, but there are niche fans that pay money to see one match and see everything else with it.
I hear you. But there is not in any company that includes WWE, I'm talking about the smallest, minute number of fans buy a pay-per-view to say, I'm going to see Britt Baker or Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch. There are nice added attraction pieces, but no, there's not a major woman, but maybe since Ronda Rousey, maybe Becky Lynch 3 years ago when the man was really hot. But overall, the reality is that it sucks because it points to bad writing, to be honest with you, and it points to sexism in the industry. But the reality is very, 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 very few fans, like maybe 20 of them, buy a pay-per-view to see any because they said, I want to watch that woman wrestle.
And we're 3 of the 20.
I'm not saying to me they can't appeal. I think Charlotte Flair might be the best wrestler on this planet, male, whatever, doesn't matter. But the reality is, when you're talking about marquee, when you're talking anyone, as historic as the WrestleMania 35 main event is, all of us still went, doesn't feel like that ought to close the show.
Yeah.
It's just, and it sucks and it's wrong, but the truth is, and it's an unfortunate truth that we all need to work on, especially us males in society. Maybe not you, McCarthy, because you're woke.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I just appreciate good wrestling, whether it's a woman or a man. And I know when things happen that are important in this society, there's a difference.
So see, he's woke.
Because I let people think how they want. I'm not going to cancel nobody. I will tell you when you're wrong about cards, because everybody in the wrestling industry said this is a good card, but you two.
Everybody in the wrestling industry is sucking Tony Khan's ass because he's not Vince McMahon. That's it.
I beg to differ, sir.
That's
not
it.
everybody.
That's it. I'm not saying Tony Khan doesn't do great things, but I'm telling you right now, 30 to 40% what airs on their product on a regular basis, if Vince did it, it would be crap. But because it's an alternative, because...
You want to know why it would be crap? Because everything is decided on, you got to do this move, this move, this move. You got to say. No one has freedom there except 5 dudes. That's why we get on Vince McMahon and his fucking product.
Yeah, except in AEW, it's you got to do 20 moves instead of this move, and this move.
Except he doesn't tell you what to do in your damn matches or in your damn promos.
Well, maybe
that's
he should
the
start.
Unless
difference.
it's a pre-taped rap that shouldn't have even aired, and then you get suspended like it was your real fault.
He went silent on that one.
My son wanted to make sure I was okay?
Yeah, I understand.
Just because he has to check someone's raps, it's not writing them. There's a difference.
Well,
I just want to make sure McCarthy was going to have a stroke at 98.
Well, he said Max Caster has to come to him and approve every rap beforehand. So that's pretty close.
Because everybody freaked the hell out.
Except the 3 of us, because we're all deplorable.
And keeping yourself out of trouble.
Fair. All right, moving on.
That is keeping your company liquid and keeping it from being sued by crazy people.
Oh,
that's
go have
smart
a pizza
business.
cutter spot. But nonetheless, my point is unfortunately a very small, minute number of fans buy a pay-per-view specifically because they said, I want to see that woman's match. I'm not saying they don't respect it or look forward to it. I'm saying a very small, minute number of fans go, I am buying this pay-per-view because, number one, I want to see this woman's match.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of women's matches.
Oh, goody.
Charlotte Flair cut this promo on Becky Lynch that was kind of weird and personal, but it felt great. And then on Raw last night, Becky Lynch got a scathing response. And see, I giveth women's wrestling, and now I taketh away. I'm going to do the whole 9 here. You just heard me bash it, but now let me tell you, this is how you build a feud. This right here has nothing to do with brand supremacy. To hell with that. They all of a sudden really don't like each other for some reason. Even though they've rode cars together the whole life. Like, well, the last 10 years or whatever. But this, whatever's going on with them, the real heat they have, give me 10 more of these matches. Because they obviously have a real issue with one another.
Yep.
And I want to see them both go off script so bad it's stupid. McCarthy, tell me you agree that this Charlotte Flair Becky Lynch feud is better than anything that AEW is producing. No, I'm playing. Tell me that. Don't you agree that this is magic because there's some real heat here? Something's going on.
Of course there is. That's what brings the best out of these guys. I mean, who can forget Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, for God's sake?
I try to forget Bret Hart all the time.
Yeah, because you can be a douche sometimes.
Better example, Edge and Matt.
I like that. Bite this.
Edge and Matt. That's a better one he might like.
Yeah, called him to bite this. That was good stuff, man. I still like going back and watching that YouTube clip.
Or when Paul invokes his name at a one-night stand promo.
Matt freaking Hardy. And Edge, to his credit, goes, that's 3 words.
Because he said, I got 2 words for you. Matt freaking Hardy. Paul, that's 3.
He went, that's 3. All right, McCarthy, thoughts on this feud that we're going to see culminate this Sunday at Survivor Series? Isn't this just magnificent for you?
Yeah, and I can't wait to see Becky Lynch whoop her ass.
See, I'm feeling the opposite on that. I don't know why, but...
Of course you are.
This might actually be a pay-per-view where I have no clue what's going to happen.
Well, we're about to predict that here in a few minutes.
Yes.
Of course you don't know because no one cares except for one match because everything else is built around brand supremacy. The only match anybody gives a shit about is Becky and Charlotte because they hate each other right now.
No. If you watched Raw last night and you weren't sold on Roman versus Big E, then you probably just didn't watch. This showed a new side of Big E that, man... This is what we need to see. More doesn't mean go away from the goofiness forever or never. Or you can even throw it in there in the same promo. But this was a serious, lethal Big E coming to kick ass.
And we said that about Big E. I think it was when it was building up to the Drew match. Like, it's totally fine if you have a champion that wants to be goofy. If they want to be that comical kind of character. But they also have to have moments like that where they can show their serious side. They're a world champion. There's got to be an ass kicker in there somewhere. Yeah. And so if
last night we finally saw it.
If you're the guy, you got to show it. And like you said, he showed it.
Last night's Raw was decent.
Yeah.
It was.
I had to stay up until 3 o'clock to watch it. But yeah.
Did you watch last night's Raw, McCarthy?
No.
Oh.
Seriously, forget about our little kayfabe gimmick here. You have to see Big E from last night. It was so subtly different, and it made you go, damn, he's got a chance. It made you go, damn, he's got a chance.
It's actually on my list to watch. I'm sure they have it on YouTube.
And I got to tell you.
Do you have Hulu?
I got to tell you.
Watch it on Hulu.
I just want to watch that one part.
Oh.
I got
time to watch the whole show.
Somehow he needs to win this match.
Fine, be that way, McCarthy. Jeez.
He's not going to win this match, but he needs to win this match.
Yes.
Somehow, Hooker. I don't care if Nudi's got to get involved. Whatever. He needs to walk away with the W here.
Cool.
He has to. I know he's not going to, but he needs to.
We say that a lot in wrestling. He doesn't have to, but he needs to.
But this was, and McCarthy is going to text us later and go, "Oh my gosh, you're right. I know he is," because he's going to look at it and go,
"He better."
This
I won't give you that satisfaction.
Wow, you're a jerk.
This is the Big E we've all wanted to see, that
Sometimes.
we've all clamored for. This is the Big E that I swear could lead this company past Roman Reigns. Because I don't know how long Roman's going to do this. He's got Hollywood offers as well. Plus, his health isn't great given what he has to deal with.
The leukemia, yeah.
He was so good last night. He was better than Drew McIntyre at his best. He was.
I don't think it's a stretch.
Last night, I don't know what it was. Maybe he's got good chemistry with the Usos and dealt with each other so much, with the New.
I think that's definitely part of it.
Something came out of him that I knew he had, but I'd never seen, if that makes sense. I always thought he could, but he proved it. It's the opposite is, it's better to be thought of as an idiot than open your mouth and confirm it. Well, I always thought you could be the face of a company, a face of a brand. And then he opened his mouth last night and he confirmed it.
Yeah.
Everything he did on Raw last night was must-see. Must-see from any wrestler. I don't care if you didn't watch it for the last 20 years. Any wrestling fan will be entertained by that. And if you're not, you're nitpicking. You're going to be so impressed, McCarthy. I promise you.
I'll check it out after the show.
You better text us, man.
You better.
Fine.
I don't know why you leave us hanging.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to be a throuple, all right? Right now it's just a couple, and then every now and again you slide in. Okay? We're supposed to be the Skyline Chili three-way of Squirrel on Air, and you're over here half-assing, pussyfooting.
Half-assing? I'm over here making charts for our predictions, sir.
I hear you. I'm just talking about your text game, buddy. Your text game. Got to get those thumbs stronger.
Oh, yeah. My text game has been terrible for years. Probably ain't never going to change.
That's all right. I love you enough to stick with you. We'll change it. All right. Jeff Hardy defeated Sami Zayn to remove Zayn from the men's Survivor Series team. Here's something I don't understand. Why are we removing and switching and changing and plugging and pulling?
A week before the events?
I meant period, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Any idea?
Nope.
I don't think they do either.
Of course they don't. Fudge.
Another year of this, McCarthy. Another year. Who are we kidding? Another 10 years of this, boys. Another 10 years. I'm glad to see Jeff Hardy get a win.
Yay.
Because he's Jeff freaking Hardy.
Yay.
Matt freaking Hardy's brother.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think that's how it works either.
But I don't know why we're picking, if you didn't want Sami Zayn on the team, why'd you put him on the team? In the meeting, I don't know if Vince went, yeah, we'll go with Zayn. He'll be a nice filler. And then what if 10 minutes later he was like, you know what? Your jaw's like.
I just read something. We were talking about Ric Flair's podcast.
Yep.
Apparently, he's questioning what CM Punk and Bryan Danielson have brought to AEW.
I'm with him. Amen to that, Nate. He would bring so much more. What do you think of that? Let's see.
Wait, I'll see.
Well, read me the quote, would you?
He said, well, if I'm looking at the ratings, I don't know what CM Punk and Bryan Danielson have contributed to. Yes, as you said, they're certainly both big stars in the business. Both had a lot of success, but I don't know how to answer that question because all you can do, as we do with football or any other show, is look at the ratings. I mean, I think they'll go up, but to me, that show should never do less than 1.1 million. Flair added, if they get there once, bring in all this talent, and then go back under 1 million, then there's something wrong.
Mr. McCarthy, the GOAT, has spoken. Any thoughts on that particular comment from the old Nate?
Sounds like a WWE lifer to me.
He's not employed by him currently.
Not currently, but he doesn't want to lose that opportunity.
Do you think he... Oh, we're heading down a rabbit hole here.
I like it.
Do you think he wants to go back to WWE and not go to AEW?
It's where the money's at.
No,
They'll pay him a lot more money to do nothing in WWE than they will in AEW.
And actually employ him because at this point...
But from Flair's perspective, he said that, and now this was pre-Dark Side of the Ring and all that, but he said that, yeah, they were going to pay me a boatload of money, but to just sit at home. He didn't want to do that.
Well, at some point, he's going to have to, or he's going to lose everything.
So you think that because of the last 2 months or whatever it's been,
Yeah.
you think his circumstances have changed already to the point that he's trying to ease his way back into a WWE job?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, because now I have nothing wrong with Ric Flair doing a podcast. That sounds interesting, regardless of what he thinks of whatever. But it doesn't seem like a Ric Flair thing to do unless he's getting a little desperate. Like,
I agree. Especially
I'm not
because
against it. It's totally fine. But it just doesn't seem like Ric Flair.
You know what I find odd about it? And then we'll get to, but here's my final comment on Flair for a second. Till next week. What I find odd about it is, why are you doing the podcast with Mark Madden? Your son-in-law is the podfather.
Yeah, that is really random.
And your son-in-law got started in podcasting from your first go-around of podcasting. Because remember a few years ago, Flair had a podcast. It didn't last all that long. I don't know why or whatever. But it was like Woo Nation or the Rick... there was 2 incarnations. It was Woo Nation and the Ric Flair Show. Do you remember that, McCarthy, vaguely?
I remember it a little bit. I don't think he likes doing it. Because if he liked doing it,
he would have never stopped doing it.
While he was making a lot of money, he would have kept doing it, you know? It's not like it's hard to do a podcast from a plane.
So I wonder why he's doing it with Mark Madden. I don't have anything against Mark Madden. I've reached out to Mark Madden several times to be on this show. He always says yes and then never gets back to me. Just putting that out there. I'm not trying to be unprofessional, but seriously, twice I've reached out and said, hey, sit down, because he's been in the business forever, and plus he's done other things that are up all our alley. He works for ESPN in Pittsburgh and all those things. Yeah. So I've tried to get him on this podcast several times. Twice he has said yes, but then never gotten back to me on a date. So I don't know why he's doing it, Mark Madden. I don't get it. Especially when your son-in-law is Conrad Thompson, like the Podfather, who was on this show, by the way. I don't understand that. I agree. I think that Slater's getting hard up for money, probably, given what we talked about. But I don't think he'd stooge himself out of a job with anybody right now. I just don't. We'll see. We'll see what the podcast brings. I'll be watching or listening or whatever the hell I got to do. I think it's going to be Woo Nation Uncensored is what it's going to be called.
Yep.
Uncensored.
Uncensored.
Does that mean he's going to spill the tea on everything? All right.
Maybe.
We'll find that. That's when we'll know. That's when we'll know if he wants a job with Vince again, how much he says.
He ain't going to say much. I just got a feeling for his own kid's sake. I just wonder if he's going to address Dark Side of the Ring. That's my big question. Does he address it?
I don't think he should. I think he should just leave that shit alone.
But Roman Reigns,
I think in a year,
he should address it. Go ahead.
What'd you say, McCarthy?
I think in a year he should address it. I think he should let all the shit die down before he addresses it. I just think that's smart PR move to wait, because there's still people that are grabbing the pitchforks for Ric Flair right now.
You're probably right. You're probably right. The problem is, from his standpoint, he might be. We don't know. I want to stress that we don't know. But he might be in such dire straits already, and only going to continue to be as the months and the year comes to a close, and then the early months of next year. He might not be in a position where he can do that because he doesn't spend his money well. We know that. It's been well documented. It was our big concern. It was my big concern is what's going to happen to him. And it's not to say anything that he may have done is okay. No, it's that I care about Ric Flair as a fan of him, as somebody that admires him and respects me. I don't know how he'll make it. I don't know. And I think you're right, McCarthy, about this is, I think this is the first step. He'll never admit this, I'm sure. But I think the reason he's back doing a podcast starting tomorrow or whatever it is because I'm sure he's still doing some autograph signings here and there. But overall, the big money deals are drying up. The Car Shield stuff is out. A few weeks ago, he announced a partnership where he's selling gold. Selling gold. So, yeah. I think you're right on that.
Is it with Steven Singer?
What?
Is it with Steven Singer?
No, it's probably with Sheamus.
Oh, that would be the best.
But
He's stealing me gold.
He cut this whole promo on gold, and he looks so swollen and awful.
Wait, no, it's with Mike Myers.
Yes.
I love gold.
But yeah, seriously, he cut this whole promo on selling gold. And he looks so swollen because I think he swells from his heart condition.
Yeah.
And he looked like he had, every now and again he'll look really swollen. It looks like he has acorns in his mouth almost. He looks so horrible.
He does.
It was, I'll send you the video later because he posted it on Facebook or whoever runs it for him. And I'm like, you just don't look good, Nate.
You don't look good, Mitch.
All right. Survivor Series.
Yes.
Are you excited? Why or why not?
Not really.
Why?
Just because they haven't booked it properly. Not even just booked it properly. They barely gave it any acknowledgement until this last week.
Still a Thanksgiving tradition.
It is, but like you talked about a couple weeks ago.
I was wrong.
When you said, is it one of the big four anymore? I don't think so, and I think this is why. Even they don't consider it a big four anymore, or else they would have booked it better.
Who would ever listen to me? I'm so full of shit.
After Crown Jewel, it was like they couldn't care less about Survivor Series. Except for the couple feuds that you brought up.
Yeah. Charlotte,
And the
Becky,
funny thing is, those kind of just fell into their lap. At least one of them did.
See, I look at this card, and I'm not proud of the way they built it at all. I think they did a poor job. But this card could be great.
It could be, and it probably will be. And
They could surprise. Look at this card. They could surprise the hell out of us. They could.
Oops.
Mr. McCarthy, are you excited for Survivor Series? Why or why not?
I'm not, for the same reasons Travis said. They haven't built anything. It's just there. And it's Survivor Series. It shouldn't just be there. Like, yeah, we're going to get legit matches between Roman and Big E, Becky and Charlotte, and RK Bro and the Usos. But are Priest and Nakamura going to gel? We don't know how much chemistry they're going to have. Do I think they could have a good match as long as they have good chemistry? Hell yeah, I do. But then we get down to the traditional Survivor Series matchups between Team Raw and Team SmackDown, and there's no stake whatsoever. What was it? Xavier Woods said, why don't you have, or it was either him or Becky, have the winning team get the last 5 spots in the Royal Rumble and have the losing team get the first 5 spots.
Like that?
That actually means something. You know, like they used to try to make it mean something. At least there was effort. Like, I haven't heard him say anything that matters at all besides brand supremacy. And quite frankly, who cares?
Yeah.
And if you're going to tout brand supremacy, can we at least get a freaking trophy?
Yeah. Well, I liked, and again, probably my bias, at least a few years ago, and it's been 4 or 5 years ago now, but at least a few years ago when they touted brand supremacy, they had The Undertaker come out and essentially threaten the entire SmackDown team going, you win or else. You win or else I'm going to kick all your asses. Tell us
at least that's a legitimate reason to win.
Right, but like The Undertaker being a pillar of SmackDown.
Didn't they still lose that year too?
Yeah. And then he didn't do anything about it. A lion's second. He's worried about the locker room. And so
it's too soft.
And so even if you did something like that, do something where one of the pillars of Raw, one of the pillars of SmackDown go, here's why this matters. Here's why we're watching. You know, all the old folks.
Have John Cena come out.
Yeah,
But he doesn't have a horse in the race. He's not on either team.
Who?
John Cena. Why would he come out?
Well, because
makes no sense.
Because he's a Raw guy.
Oh, wait, it's WWE. They'll probably do it.
SmackDown.
I think he's a Raw guy.
Which would you say? Is he more a SmackDown
He's
guy?
He's a SmackDown guy. He was a made man on SmackDown.
I think
SmackDown has a special place in John Cena's heart.
The entire company has a special place in his heart. It's not. First of all, he's too decent. It's not special to have a special place in his heart. It's worthless. All right. He's too good.
He's too positive.
We need Ebenezer Scrooge to have a special place in somebody's heart. That's when it matters. But John Cena, the cashier clerk at the Dukes and Duchess has got a special place in his heart because he's such a good guy.
It's his coffee. Why wouldn't you have a special place in your heart for the guy that brings you coffee or gets you coffee?
Who the hell is that decent besides him? Anywho, let's make some predictions and get the hell out of here.
Yes, please.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready, McCarthy?
Probably.
So,
are you ready?
All right, let's get it started. The men's 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination match. I listed them out there. I'm not reading them all. Who do you got, Mr. McCarthy?
The men's, you say?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Raw.
I'm going to go Team SmackDown.
I do go Raw.
All right, you go Raw.
I go Raw.
Bloody Raw.
I go bloody Raw.
All right. Number 2, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the women's version. Who do you got, Mr. Napper?
I'm going to take Team Raw again.
I'm going to take Team SmackDown again. Who do you got, Mr. McCarthy? Come on, tie, baby. Tie it up.
I'm going SmackDown.
All right, welcome home. That's right. You can always call me Daddy. It's just fun.
I'd rather not.
Don't worry about it. Look, you can do a lot worse. I'm beautiful. All right. Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch versus SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair in what might be the celebrity deathmatch version of this entire card. Mr. McCarthy, who do you have winning this slugfest?
The man, Becky Lynch.
Who you got winning this slugfest?
Charlotte Flair.
I think it's going to be Charlotte simply because we're trying to appease another Flair. They're not well adjusted. They're just not.
Well, they need to grow the hell up.
Look, Rick's like 75. Ain't happening. We're dealing with it the way he is. Charlotte, she can't help it. Look who her father is.
That's not an excuse.
Damn well should be at this point.
I was going to look at him. Really? For her, we'll give it that.
She's been through a lot.
She has. I have a fun story, but I don't have time to tell it. Raw Tag Team Champions. It's from Flair's first podcast. Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro versus SmackDown Champs, the Usos, Mr. Napper.
Usos.
I as well have the Usos, Mr. McCarthy.
I'm going RK Bro.
Oh, way to be different. Look at you.
Bro.
I bet you have pink slippers.
They're
All right.
actually checkerboard red and say Papa Bear on them.
United States Champion, that was weird. Damian Priest versus Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Who you got, Mr. Napper?
I can't do it like Boogs, but Nakamura.
I
You should
have
do anything
Nakamura
like
as
Rick
well.
Boobs, Goobs, Boobs. I can't even say his name because we have issues.
Did you call him a boob?
Yes.
I love boobs. I even grew my own.
He stole the name of my move. We have problems.
Actually,
of it.
no. The lack of creativity in the creative is why you have problems, not Boogs. He didn't pick it. I have Nakamura. Who do you have, Mr. McCarthy?
Nakamura.
All right. And lastly, WWE Champion Big E versus Universal Champion, the Tribal Stinky Chief, Roman Reigns. I guess we all got Roman, probably.
I'm actually going to side with what you said earlier. I'm going Big E.
I'm so proud of you, you dead sexy son of a bitch. Mr. McCarthy?
I'm going Big E, too.
Well, I'm going to go Roman because...
He does what he wants to be different.
Well...
Now he's mad, though. We both...
No, I want Big E to win. It's just... How do I say this PG? It's just that Vince really admires Roman. And so that's who's going to win this match. All right.
I love that he went PG, and I still know where he was going.
Nakamura and Priest, Logan.
What'd you say?
What?
Who'd Logan pick between Nakamura and Damian Priest?
Nakamura. If you'd have been listening instead of fantasizing about Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, probably
I was
Don
actually
Callis.
bitching about Rick Boogs during that point.
Well, who could blame you? He's dead sexy. Those pectorials get me going.
Dude, if they actually took him a little bit seriously, he actually could be pretty good.
I agree. So, WWE started the branding launch for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania 38, last year was WrestleMania back in business. This year, the tagline is the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history.
The most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history.
Quick question before we go, boys. How are they possibly going to pull that off?
They're not. That's the point.
But how are they even going to try to pull that off? Because back in business didn't make any effort. You didn't have to do that. It's just...
Undertaker. There's number one.
Yeah, but he needs a knee replacement.
To walk out on stage?
You're right. Time for Happy Corbin to be unhappy Corbin, damn it.
Right. I'm sure a chokeslam doesn't require a total knee replacement.
Well, he said he needs a knee replacement, but he's waiting until after hunting season.
That sounds like a Texan for sure.
Yeah, that's Taker right there.
That does something.
He said he needs a right knee replacement because he did an interview to promote the WrestleMania ticket sales party that he was part of.
Yeah.
He said he needs a right knee replacement, but he said, I'm going to wait until after hunting season till he schedules it. And he said that he could work a match.
In case he falls out of the tree.
Yeah. Right. My God, I got to kill that last buck. So he said he could work a match, but he said he can't live up to fans' expectations. But when they say the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history,
Bullshit. He can't live up to his own expectations. That's the problem.
yeah, I told Peyton this. I said we're all just hoping he gets through it. He thinks we're all expecting 5-star classics. I'm like, me and the boys are just like, don't die, just don't die.
Just don't break him. That's all we care about.
We're just glad to see you put the fist up, bro. That's all right. He's okay. Cool. McCarthy, final thoughts. WrestleMania to be the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history, April 2nd and April 3rd now. I miss one-nighters.
I think this is...
How do they possibly live up to this? How do they even try to live up to this? Could we see an extra special card? Because the indoor attendance record could get broken 2 days in a row.
No. They're not going to live up to these expectations that they set to themselves and laughed about when they said it. Like, it's a problem if you got to say it.
Are they going to try? Problem. I'm not saying they will. Of course they won't.
No, they're not going to try.
Are they going to give an effort?
It's a joke to all the people in the boardroom. Ha ha, this will be funny. We'll get those stupid wrestling fans. Ha ha. That's what they say. Because they think we're stupid.
No. I'm going to believe. They're going to try. They're going to fail. But they're going to try. You know how I think you get that started?
So optimistic.
Well, if I wasn't optimistic, I should probably stop watching the product because what am I doing with my life? You know how I think they get that started? They announced the host of WrestleMania. Who? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I think they announced he has a match.
I don't think he'll ever wrestle again. It's been too long. Like, yes, I'd love to see it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I think he could be the host in Dallas, Texas. I mean... If he's the host 2 nights in a row, Dallas, Texas, I mean, there might be literal heart attacks in the stands.
As long as they don't have him, Rock, and Hulk all in the
Let's go, brother. I'm ready.
At least he can't call it the Silver Dome.
Anytime you get above, McCarthy knows, when you're above 60, those brain farts happen all the time. Silver Dome, Superdome, who knows? Okay, it's all good. Yeah, I think
next thing you know, he's going to call Jerry World Geriatric World.
It's okay.
Which, I mean, to be fair with Jerry, that's probably fair. That's fair.
It's fine. He's another pompous in the way of his own team owner because he thinks he's great.
Yay.
No, they're going to try, McCarthy. Stop being so jaded. You know what you got to teach your kid? Optimism. And that's what I'm here for. Uncle Loganity is going to teach Mr. McCarthy and friends little optimism because you understand how cruel this business is. I do too. I'm just dumb enough to keep hoping.
Don't make me pull out the Eeyore graphic.
Yeah.
Look, I'm optimistic on a lot of things, just not. I set my expectations low for them for reasons. They've given me reason to.
Don't you make me start recording Eeyore sound bites.
Go ahead. It's fine. I don't care. When it comes to WWE, I'm depressed about it because
that's
it used to be this.
Well, my final words are this. My final words are this because we got to go. I want you to smile. I want you to be happy. And like times are tough right now. I know. Believe me, I know. I've had a tough few weeks. It's been amazing to be back in this studio with these two gentlemen who I love like brothers, and I would literally die for it. And I know they would do it for me. Well, maybe McCarthy wouldn't, but.
No, you're fine. Travis gets pushed down the stairs.
No, it depends on what I last said about Tony Khan. So I'll leave you with this. Be the reason somebody smiles today, and I got a bold prediction. Survivor Series is going to kick Full Gear's ass. I'm going to go watch NWA Power. We're out of here.
You're hilarious.
What did you say?
So they should treat it like it is.
I'm going to cut you both off. Bye!